Hey friends, welcome. This is Warhammer 40K Imperium Maledictum Iron Archipelago, Episode 7. I am joined, of course, by Grimdark Kain, KainDamael, and James Krieg. I, of course, am the #1 toxic negativity streamer here present.
Once more proof that AP's having a stroke.
I counted them down so you know that was on purpose. Oh my goodness.
Do you smell peanuts?
What?
Or is it peanut? I don't
No,
know. What
it's
is it? What
bread.
is
It's
it?
toast. It's
It's
burnt toast.
Toast. Yes, that's it. You know what? I was in the ballpark.
I
Not
was
really. Not
worried
at all.
because I have peanut butter somewhat near me, and I just done doing peanut butter, raisins, and celery, and I was like, how could he know? How could he possibly know that? How could he know?
This is where you find out that Omar's already in the house.
Great, he can do with the cat.
I've got one of my own. Thanks.
I'm just glad we could be here. And hey, thanks to the rest of the world that put up with our time zone shenanigans, because it's March 10th of 2024, which means time keeps on slipping into the future. Previously on this show, we found out that Violetta, a runaway girlfriend of a previously executed Xeno trade dealer, it's complicated, is on the run and in the loose, well, on the run, not the, oh boy, I'm really fumbling this one. She's loose in the wind inside these giant asteroids that we live in. You have been tasked from a particularly horse-themed naval commodore with maybe figuring out what's her deal. Rassie, you just got done executing a bunch of innocent people to save your life. And you've also agreed to work with a man who we've seen in a second timeline will go out of his way to insult you no matter what clothes you're wearing because he absolutely hates you. But you are now his militia trainer. You're his drill instructor. Sure, let's go with that. Yeah, you're his new drill instructor. For you, though, Val, it has been a tough night. Everyone exhausted with all of the doing your actual job, plus doing extra stuff, plus running around all day, had head back home, and now there are only 7 days of testing left before your new precious kin hard bottle, cheap knockoff copies of real las guns and other equipment are done testing. But for you, Velamris, it's a difficult time. You're at the center point of so many conspiracies. You wanted to go after Violetta, and you just simply didn't have the time last night from exhaustion. You know that your boss is still keeping an eye on you, and while you've lied once to a bunch of psychers, very impressive, it's not going to last forever. And of course, your activities every time you go inside the Administratum headquarters, you can't lie about that because you're being watched at all times by all other employees who are all reporting on each other all the time, front computer style.
I was just thinking the same thing because I started getting into it.
The only thing that is a solve to any of your minds is, now I take a moment and step back above the narrative here. I hate giving numbers to things. I hate it really bad, especially for transient things of great value whose numerical worth isn't easily ascribed within a tabletop role-playing or fictional narrative session. So there was some hoopla last time about the 10 million reserve liquidity cash that you now have had to spend to get the naval commodore to, Commodore, to move the stuff that you need. You have arranged for the Navy to pick up your Krultis porcine, although you probably want to tell the person holding the porcine that they're coming.
I don't think we'd actually. I don't think we committed to that path. I thought we had two irons in the fire. One was trying to convince the ecclesiarch to send a pilgrim ship here with the porcine.
I know that was one of yours. I thought you paid the money out and gave her the favor from the Mavens. Okay.
I don't think we sealed that deal. I could be wrong though.
That's fine if you haven't.
Yeah, because we hadn't actually explored. We had the idea of talking nuclear safety, but we hadn't actually done that yet. So, because I was hoping to play two suppliers off against each other for the best deal.
Yes, I vaguely recall that. I had thought you signed it, even if not, your 10 million or whatever is committed to that deal if it goes through on the Navy side. With that said, the salve that you have is that by not needing to pay the tunnel snakes, you now have an additional 105 million liquid currency available to you. The money that would have gone to paying their bribe, or maybe not bribe, let's call it trade value for ammunition that they definitely stole,
to settle accounts with.
Yeah, sure, settling the account. That money is now available for your team to use if you so choose.
Right.
How do you want to start your day?
So one thing I want to point out, by the way,
our own ship.
Since I've now gone 3 days of hassling the engineer
And
every day
Hoplite.
before lunchtime, without actually changing his outcome, I've given up doing that now. I'm just going to save my thoughts for a future performance review where I comment on the fact that he puts in exactly the amount of time that's expected, like it's a negative thing.
This is
a Yelp review, if you will.
This is an actual story plot from the novel Snow Crash, so I approve. Let's do it. What do you want to do? You all wake up. You've got plenty of things on your plate, plenty of people that you've chosen to kill, people that you need to track down, and just a regular day in the office ahead of you as well.
I think morning stand-up is probably the first.
Yeah, we're going to do morning. Okay, so the three of you roll in. When two of you walk in, a certain psyker is aware that someone has entered the room, and he stands up. He has put a mark through pay the tunnel snakes. So that's on the chalkboard, but it's been struck through, and he holds the chalkboard up with its 6 notations that you can see, and he also has written plus 105 in the bottom right-hand corner. All right. Liturgical says, let's do the stand-up.
Rassie's not here yet.
Oh, okay.
He said when two of us walked in. So
when is he expected? But no, I'm saying he can only see 2 of you, so he stood up.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rassie, knowing a little bit more, will make the habit of every time he walks into the room that Liturgical is in, he walks in and says, "Good morning, sir," so that he knows that he's there.
Excellent. I see you were pranking me.
No, he literally just walked in.
Okay, well, levity is fine here. You won't be executed for it like you would in most Imperial institutions. Just keep it under control. You don't want to do anything heretical. No excess, all right? I mean, what are we? Drukhari? We're not. We're not. We don't hire Drukhari here. Okay. Let's do the rundown. I want to hear one sentence of what you accomplished yesterday and how you can apply it to what you're doing today. Rassie, he just turns in a random direction. Let's start with you.
I improved our relations with Father Firebrand, which may be a possible asset to cultivate in the future.
How do you apply that to your work today?
I'm going to speak with him and see what sort of leads I might be able to generate for us to get ammunition for the ships.
Okay. Then he does the thing. I don't know if the microphone picked that up. Also, I don't know.
A little bit of it.
Okay. He does that and then finger guns Velamris and says, all right, what did you do yesterday and how can you apply it to what you're going to do today?
Well, first, on a similar vein.
One sentence.
Work. Yes. Unfortunately, I get long-winded, so this is going to be a long sentence.
It's been run on pretty good so far. Keep going.
We had some interaction with the Navy. Commodore, I'm going to say Equine. I'm not sure if that's quite the right name.
That is her name.
The connection for today is, with some help from her intelligence office and some research that I did with the administratum, we have an individual that we need to interact with that will improve relations with the local guard.
Okay. And you're sure you can improve your relationship with the local guard? My understanding from previous interactions was that things were not going well.
According to the discussions we've had previously with the Lord Colonel, based on these interactions, our reputation with the guard, as it were, may be slightly increased, or at the very least, not diminished.
Very well. Holly, what do you have?
We've secured one option to get the Quiltus porcine moved here. Today we're going to look at a second option, which is the best deal.
Excellent. That's that kind of forward-thinking, cross-negotiating, cost-benefit analysis behavior that we encourage in a rogue trader house. But just know this, your time and my time is all valuable. So just make sure that you've done the cost-benefit analysis of how long the cost-benefit analysis of this deal is, so that the nested cost-benefit analysis doesn't take more time and money than necessary.
I've already started a time and motion study.
Fantastic. I, the game master, am not quite sure what that is, but I'm sure that you know what that is.
A time and motion study is performance management, where you say to somebody, okay, I want you to tell me everything you did today, like how long each of those things took. So if a person doesn't look busy all the time, they look like they're skiving off, you do a time and motion study to work out that they, like, what did you spend all your time today doing? Oh, you only described 4 hours of actual work. What were you doing for the other 4 hours of your day?
Solitaire, yeah.
Yeah.
Discord.
Discord.
But yeah, but it's at its core, it's supposed to be working out, like, have I used my time most efficiently? But it's mostly used to target employees who you think are doing what I do for my day every day. Me personally, not Holly.
You mean role-playing games?
Listen, it's called executive time. All right. That's how you get the creative juices flowing. All right. This has been a fantastic meeting. I look forward to results, because that's what matters. And let's remember the Imperium axiom of today. He holds up another chalkboard that says it says intentions are only considered in the absence of results.
It's deep, liturgical. I like it.
It's not that deep. What it means is that when we are making considerations over whether you should continue to be employed here, your intentions only matter if you have been a failure. So success is better than failure.
Somewhere in the back of Velamris' mind is the number 0.124.
Well, that's Barnum and Hoveler's personal system. All right, they definitely don't use that here.
No, but it's definitely left its mark in his psyche, if you will.
Well, one day you too could be a perfect 0.500 like Barnum and Hoveler.
Yeah, I believe the true goal should be 1.
Oh, you're coveting the same number assigned only to the Emperor of Mankind. Well, I mean, if you're looking at averages, that's what you should be, shooting for. Every single time you're at bat is a hit. Sure. You realize that because you've missed at least once, 1 is now impossible for you to achieve.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Every day is a new opportunity to be a 1 for the day.
Every day is a new opportunity to become asymptotic. Yes.
Little victories.
He sits back down and lies on his desk and takes a nap.
So how long until the big basketball game?
It is
like 3 days.
Let's see. 2 days left until and this is just the first game in the tournament.
I don't know, Rassie, if you wanted to pull together the team and actually do some practice at some point too.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. make sure we go over the rules, understand the objectives.
Based on my understanding, it's Rassie, Velamris, and the 3 Imperial Guards, Elysium Drop Troopers. That's the team.
That's the 5 of them.
With Holly on cheer squad.
Yep.
Okay.
So really, I need to work with Velamris, make sure he understands what he's supposed to be doing.
And Elysian troops are all short by default, so playing basketball is a great game for them.
Velamris is also going to want to have a sit down with Holly and Rassie regarding Violetta and the information that he discovered and what that means for the Lord Colonel and for Firebrand himself.
Let's do it now.
Absolutely. According to everything I found, she is something of a model upstanding citizen, but conversely, somehow tangentially connected to this, what was it? Xeno material trade. And the Lord Colonel wants her dead. I believe the words actually were destroyed. And doing that would restore Rassie here to good faith. I don't know what the impact would be for Firebrand. I get the impression that perhaps it would make his life a little bit easier. It kind of sounds like one of those multiple birds with single stones sort of scenarios.
If we did things the way the Lord Colonel wants, I'm sure that would be good for the trading house, but I think it will be inconsequential to the future of myself and my fellow survivors.
Well, if we get the Imperial Guard to be less looky your way, I feel like that's a win. And if we ever do need to go to the Space Hulk for anything, that door should swing a little bit more freely than it did previously.
I think part of the problem is that my impression of the Colonel, was it Colonel? Or General?
Lord Colonel.
Lord Colonel, yes. Was that his decisions were driven largely by emotion rather than by tactics. He seemed to really have it in for Rassie and his troops. So I'm not sure whether or not his promise of putting everything back in good standing will really stand up that well once we've done his bidding. He's still in the position of power, right? By doing what he wants, we don't hold any leverage. He can still choose to be a jerk towards Rassie if he chooses to, and there's not much else we can do except to ask what's the next laid we can perform for him. So I think the two options to try and improve the standing there would be either to try and get rid of that colonel and put someone else in place who'll be more partial to Rassie his troops. The other option would be to see whether we could use this woman in some sort of way to blackmail him into once we actually use her as leverage rather than just an expendable resource. By the same token, talking about her relationship with Father Firebrand, I don't get the impression that Father Firebrand needs too much effort to push somebody from this person's a hassle to this person needs to be burned at the stake. But yet he hasn't done away with this woman. He obviously believes that she is someone worthwhile to keep around, otherwise, as far as he's concerned, she is a good member of his flock.
Yeah.
So...
And so any public record indicate as well.
Yeah. But, exposing to Father Firebrand that she's been involved in some sort of Xeno play might quickly change that. But that's a bell that can't be unrung. Once we say that, if his followers then string her up when we don't have any opportunity to use her as leverage.
I wonder if we could work through Father Firebrand to meet with her and say that we think that she may be targeted unjustly by somebody who's working for their personal interest instead of the interest of the Emperor. And we would like to talk to her in an effort to try to find a way to resolve this in a way. And if she's willing to cooperate, she could give us the information we need to blackmail the Lord Colonel.
That is an interesting plan. I came in here thinking we would probably just shoot her in the face, and now we're actually having something a bit more meaningful, a conversation, and then possibly using her as the method to expose the colonel. I like this. I'm totally fine with shooting her, of course, but
I would think that in order to avoid cluing Father Firebrand onto the fact that he should just deal with her himself, we need to go to him and say that we believe that this colonel, who we think is, unjustly using the resources of the Imperium, has targeted this woman for no good reason. We shouldn't mention the Xeno artifacts. Maybe just the fact that she was, illicitly involved with one of his troops, but that he seeks her death, and that we'd like to talk with her because she might have information that will help us deal with the colonel, since the colonel, being on the Hulk, is outside the reach of Father Firebrand's followers, right?
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Yeah, and probably even Father Firebrand knows that, as he might not be a priest, but he has a flock. With that being said, the Imperium won't stand for his flock directly attacking major doyens of the Empire without any sort of proof, like a Lord Colonel.
No, I feel that would be frowned upon.
So, Arthur, is there any sort of presence of the ecclesiarchy on the archipelago, like an actual formal church?
Yes, you have been there.
Yeah.
There is representatives of the imperial cult.
Yeah.
And you have been there. They don't have like a single priest that they answer to. It's kind of like a group administration with sisters participating as well. In your time arranging that festival we did during the downtime, you know that the internal workings of that particular group are really shattered, like heavily factionalized theologically between each other. And Father Firebrand, with his singular, very set vision, is pulling, I wouldn't say he's pulling people away from the real church. People attend him because he's so confident and straightforward, and there's no like blither blather yap. Is that what the kids are calling it nowadays? No yapping. There's no one person you could go to, but there are certainly secular and non-secular authorities above you in the church you could appeal to a committee for if you needed something.
Okay. But would that take time to get that? Like I can't just go and see someone today.
How serious is, like if you show up and you're saying, hey, I'm here to report heresy, right? That's a big deal, and you'll be seen immediately. If you're asking for a status update on something, it could take some time.
So what I'll do is I think I will send off, do we have messengers we can use, or servo skulls or the like we can send off with the message?
You definitely have messengers for sure. Yes.
Yeah. So I'd like to send a message off to whatever ecclesiastical representative exists to say that I'm interested in talking with them about how the Lord Captain, Chaderius Darkwind, can both help the church and vice versa, and particularly in relation to the matter of the what do Father Firebrand's group call themselves? They call themselves
wrathful righteous.
Yeah. In how we might best ensure the positive future for both the ecclesiarchy and the wrathful righteous. Like I'm trying to imply that I have a solution to the problem without saying directly there is a problem.
I would like a roll.
Okay. What would you like?
That is a great question. Sorry, I'm deep in the equipment section right now, making some notes. And this isn't like Stars Without Numbers where there's a literal bureaucracy skill that makes this so easy. I think I would take lore, weirdly enough.
Okay. Lore would be the right one.
I would take the persuasion-y
rapport.
Yeah. I would take rapport haggle.
Okay, let's do rapport haggle.
Or charm. Yeah, I'll take any of those. Rapport haggle, rapport charm, or lore. No subspecialty.
Okay, I'm not going to spend the fate point. This one's going to straight roll. +1.
That is
So I succeeded because I have faction influence with the Administorum, so that's why I plug.
Oh, did it automatically calculate that?
Well, I had to put the I had to put the +1 SL in.
Ah, I see. Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's on a +0 success. Well, +1's fine. I'm not sure I understand it, but that's okay. You receive I don't want to say summons. You receive an indicator that your claim will be heard in 2 days at noon, which is also the time of the basketball game. You will be summoned forth before the committee to hear your thoughts as a representative of the Darkwind Trading House. And so they're treating it as two separate entities, the Darkwind Trading House and the rogue trader Chaderius Darkwind, in relation to a reconciliation with the cult of the Wrathful Righteous.
Okay. All right. I think that I either need to get some sort of like pom-pom add-on made for the servo skull, so that if I can't be there to cheer, the servo skull can.
There is a 0% chance that will happen. You can buy a servo skull and add a pom-pom to it. You are not going to do that to the inquisitorial servo skull.
Just put a skull on the skull.
Now, this has all gotten us away from the basketball game prep.
Yeah.
I will take 3 rolls. One of them will be from me representing the Elysian drop troopers. There are 5 possible things you can roll for. You can roll for multiple things over and over, with the exception of the leadership roll, which can only be done by Rassie. So, to prepare for the game and give yourselves a +10 going in, you have to succeed at any of the 5 following skills. You get 1 shot: athletics, running, awareness, sight, dexterity, sleight of hand, melee, brawling, which represents dirty playing. But if you roll doubles, you will be thrown out of the entire rest of the tournament and be unable to play. And presence, leadership. I'm going to put that in the chat right now so that I know that just saying things usually doesn't work out that well.
Well, there were several things to remember there.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and roll my presence then.
Okay, you don't have to roll that, just to be clear. It's just
I'm just the only one that can.
Yes. So unless you order them to do otherwise,
Before he rolls, I'm trying to remember if there's anything, because I mean, I've got a very good leadership. I'm trying to work that's the way you can actually really assist in this system. If I can, give him some leadership pointers before he goes into to brief the team.
I don't believe so.
Because there's actually there's a talent specifically which improves your
attentive
how well
assistant.
you assist. Yeah, but that should refer to what the base rules for assisting are.
You can use the help action on page 208.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. When you take the help action, you assist an ally, granting them advantage.
Yeah. And I think attentive assistant allows you to do something more than that.
When 2 characters are working together, the character with the highest skill takes the test with advantage. To assist someone, you must have at least 1 advance in the skill being tested. So, do you have an advance in...
I have 2 advances in leadership.
Okay. Then, between the 2 of you, you take the test at advantage with the highest skill.
But I don't have a tentative assistant though, so it's just the base help. So
Yes.
yeah.
Everything I just read is just the base.
Oh, okay, cool.
Attentive assistant lets you do it with a +10.
Okay. Are you happy with that,
Plus
Rassie?
10
If I help
and
you?
advantage.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So while Rassie leads the team on the court, Coach Holly, who puts down the pom poms and now has a whistle and I just want to imagine you've taken the poker visor that Dave's character had in Rogue Trader and you're using that as like a sweat brow band.
You have the Commander Data poker visor.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. First off, I like the fact that when I've got to do this roll, it's popped up at the side. It doesn't apply the modifiers for your talents automatically because they may not apply at the time, but it pops up telling you can get benefits. So it tells me, am I making this test related to my faith? Am I sucking up to a superior? Now, I know obviously the answer is no to both of those. But the other question I was going to ask was, does Rassie's SL from Adeptus Militarum apply to this role because he's
only the higher skill with advantage. Okay. Those are the only things that will apply here.
All right. Okay. Success.
That is yes. Okay. The Astra Militarum soldiers are rolling athletics at a +0. They have failed. What would you like to do, Omar?
My best bet is going to do the dexterity sleight of hand because that is statistically my best option.
So we were doing 3 things total, weren't we? Is that right?
Yes. This is
So
he is the third right here.
So since we're 1 pass, 1 fail, is it worth considering spending a fate point on this, Omar?
I mean, we want to do well in the tournament, obviously.
So just to be clear, it just means that right now, going into the first match, Kain will have a +10, and if you succeed at this, you'll have a +10 on the roll in the match.
Okay. Otherwise, it'll just be a 0. No modifiers.
It'll be a normal roll.
Okay. All right. Yeah. In that case, I'll hold on to my the fate point.
Your fate. Okay. Make your roll. Okay. All right. A +2 success. So I hate to say it, but these short, out of work troopers who've been spending their time beating up old heretics and harassing non-citizens are out of shape for a frankly high-paced basketball game, and the two of you really show them up, but you've whipped yourselves into shape and you've also psyched the team up, so the two of you will have a +10 going in, and these knuckleheads, especially Suprenza, now all know that they need to get their shit together. And they start doing drills where they firemen's carry each other on their back up and down the court.
I think I'm envisioning this as they just can't keep up with the constant running back and forth throughout the entire game. Like they're good for bursting.
Drills.
Yeah, they're good for bursting, but they're not good for the long haul.
They got to get back into the fighting weight. They got to get back at that drop trooper.
So the question is going to be now is that do we play the psychological game and try and like dishearten the other teams before they come and play? Like seed misinformation or.
I believe the first team you're facing are the Savants, the physically weakest team by far.
It's very computer game where you face like the weakest team first and work your way out from there. Our draw was very.
This is the tutorial level. All your opponents are like grossly underpowered.
Well, James, I got to tell you, if you have to face the fucking Drakes in the first round, it really sucks. Okay. Well, what do you want to do next?
So the reason I was asking about the church as well, guys, is because I like the idea. We'll talk about speaking to Father Firebrand about this one, but I was hoping to speak to the church first because that way, if I had progress there, I could relate it. But I think that the next step, rather than waiting 2 days, we want to try and lock this woman down before she vanishes into the ether of the station again. So maybe it's time to go see Father Firebrand now.
Okay.
And the goal there will be to indicate our interest in her, but not necessarily the full reason as to why we're interested in her.
Indeed.
All right, I'll drive.
And Rassie, you seem quite partial to you, so you should definitely be coming along.
I think partial, it might be a strong word, but there's certainly a long-term cooperation going on.
He doesn't treat you like the rest of us, so.
That is a fair statement, I suppose.
As you're getting ready to leave, Liturgical approaches you, Rassie, but in the way that he's approaching like the group, and he accidentally walks close enough to you and goes, "Ah, there you are," and starts hitting you and everyone else with like a manila folder filled with papers. Which one? Where are you?
I'll grab onto the manila folder. Right here, sir.
Yes, he takes a step back. I noticed you were writing up a proposal to do a communication with the Sector Lord, Sejanus.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to just know that you're willing to pay the cost of that. That you think it's worth the price.
I don't plan to go through the proposal unless I think it will benefit the trading house as well.
Okay, he nods and says, all right. All right. He pulls out like a set of prayer beads and kisses them as he makes his way back to his seat.
Go back to his nap.
Yeah, he's praying now.
Oh.
I'll open the folder.
Yeah, I would like you to make a lore test, and I'll accept forbidden Psyniscience, which you don't have, so don't worry about it. Okay. It's just a proposal for a communications ritual with the Sector Lord.
For the audience, that was an astounding failure.
-7.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you could re-roll it if you thought you could get some hot shit there.
We all feel dumber for being around.
I didn't roll doubles. Well, I guess I look at the headers and go, oh, maybe, and just assume like this must be some sort of how to make a message happen. Maybe, I guess, not sure. But we're not sending a message to the. We're not sending that message yet. So.
Okay. We screen wiped the three of you exiting your vehicle, which you've parallel parked outside of the gas station turned into a cult headquarters. Velamris, specifically because you have that ability to pre-scout areas and you have pre-scouted CT's Delta. Mm-hmm. I will ask you to roll with a +10 on a sight or smell check. You will get different results depending on which one you pick.
Remember there was a funky smell last time we came to see Father.
Yeah, there was, and I think Velamris would be kind of paying attention to that. So yeah, smell. And that's awareness, yes.
Yes, it's awareness. And if you have either of those specialties, you can apply them.
Unfortunately, I don't.
Okay.
Any modifiers?
Well, you get the +10.
Okay.
For knowing this area and being on a lookout because you're a suspicious guy. You give a little sniff.
And didn't quite make it.
That's a 59. It's a failure.
If I throw a fate point, other than the reroll, I feel like there was another option in there.
Yeah, you can spend a fate point to add a degree of success. We'll turn it from a -1 to a +0.
Yeah. All right, we'll drop a fate point there for that, for the added success level.
You take a sniff when you think you catch something familiar, something you haven't smelled in a while. And you catch that scent that you've picked up off of Violetta every time you've passed by her. This sort of like pungent flower garden scent that also carries something like maybe hormonal with it as well. But you get something underneath that kind of tickles the back of your brain, and on only a +0, it reminds you of the chemical outgassings that certain types of servitors gave back on the Forge world. Sort of smell that's just a soupçon, a hint of gun oil, a little bit of ozone, a sort of stench of burned flesh, just a little tinge of burned flesh and sacred unguents.
And I'm smelling this
outside,
outside.
Yes, outside the facility.
You too can get a Yankee Candle and buy Arthur's own fragrance.
Patchouli and gun oil. Is it possible to figure out where the source of that scent is?
You have a +0, man. I gave you.
I'm not. Yeah, no, that's fair.
You can cross the finish line. All right.
Yeah.
You could just start walking around the archipelago sniffing until you find something familiar.
Yeah, right. The chaos patchouli perfume.
No, don't encourage him.
I can't wait to see the memes and gifs later.
That's the thing I'm worried about.
That was the favorite thing I love to do about my Traveler show, because one of my players was just all through the 3-hour session would be just dropping memes and gifs, and I'm like, all right, before I go post this, when the video's available, let me go and see what he's got in here.
I mean, Fullhammer, you do what you got to do. All right, you do what you got to do.
He's engaged, he says. Anyways, so yeah, I guess I'm just gonna look, and I think I'm gonna say something to Holly and Rassie. Be like, "You guys smell that? Is that the same smell that was here last time? That's not normal."
Now, when you say that, the servo skull that's following you very conspicuously comes down and floats beside your head. And you can see that its eyes are emitting a red scanning beam.
Oh, I've never seen it do that before. Have you?
I don't smell anything.
Well, now that he said something, you can make a roll to make the smell test.
Okay.
So,
I mean, it's worth a try.
Holly and Rassie, you can roll. Your choices are smell or sight.
Well, he said, "Do you smell that?" So
yes.
I don't go what.
I appreciate your commitment to the role play. I'm just putting it out there.
And it's from Ghostbusters where he goes, "Shh, can you smell that?"
Run up there with turning the radio down when you're looking for an address.
Holly, this is not anywhere in your bailiwick. No. Rassie, you smell something. A +2. I'll tell you what, if you spend a fate point on this, I will give you something incredibly specific.
Okay, sure.
You are taken back in time. You are on yet another battlefield world. You're with the lieutenant. You see a flash in the distance, and one of the other troopers throws himself in front of the lieutenant. No! As a thumb-sized hole goes right through his spine and dissipates on the lieutenant's front armor as this person who is Mr. President himself falls to the ground. Is just horrible fluids are coming out of his body with a through shot from a laser rifle. And we cut to scenes of your whole unit like coming out of a trench, sailing through the air on your grav jumps, and surrounding a heretical sniper. And as you are sniffing around, you realize that this is a custom modified, the smell of a long las that has recently been fired and has a attached silencer system to it as well. You just have this very vivid memory of you and the rest of your squad hunting down someone who had this exact rifle.
Okay.
Did it include the scent of patchouli as well?
No. I mean, you do smell the smell of Violetta, but you specifically smell the smell of a custom long-las assassination weapon.
Like, after hearing Velamris' comment and just taking a deep whiff, just looks around and says, that smells like a custom long las with a signature suppressor. I've smelled this rifle.
Right.
I was really waiting for you. I don't know if I whispered it. I don't know if you heard it, but I was like, please say that this smells like victory.
So, like, when you say familiar, like on the something familiar from the Archipelago?
No, from an assignment previous. It was used against us. Did we, after we surrounded that heretical sniper, did we kill him?
Yeah.
Okay. The shooter, we took the shooter. But this smells just like that rifle.
All right, so once we're done here with Father Firebrand, let's go and pick up an Auspex, see if we can scan this in, and maybe use that to try and track it down within the Archipelago. I'm assuming neither of you two own an Auspex.
I'd like to look around. I'm looking if I smell a discharge from a rifle like that here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take a look at the surroundings where I think like where would be good places to take a shot from, where would be,
I think Velamris
good avenues of places for a target to be walking through.
Yeah, Velamris would be looking for sniper type spots once he said that, but he doesn't have the extensive military history background.
Okay.
That
I will
Kain
ask
has,
both of
or
you to
Rassie.
roll at a -20 visual.
That's awareness again, yeah.
Yes.
Holly couldn't care less.
She wants to rely on the technology to do this.
I didn't think I was going to get anywhere with that.
I'm going to spend another fate to give myself advantage.
For the group at home. Well, you haven't rolled yet? Okay. So
No.
Velamris rolled a minus for success. Is quite bad.
I mean, I was
Impressive,
rolling
isn't it?
against an 18
Okay.
total, though.
And with a -20, he still managed to succeed.
Barely, but yeah.
With that together, you notice that there is a servo skull watching you. It is not the inquisitorial servo skull that has been following you. There's another servo skull that is following you close to the ceiling. It is hiding in some piping and is basically pointed straight down. And it doesn't notice that you have noticed it yet, but it is watching everything you do from directly above.
Does the Inquisitor servo skull notice the other servo skull?
Doesn't, well, first off, you wouldn't know that, but it doesn't
No,
appear
I wouldn't, but-
so.
Okay.
Is there anything, any obvious markings of any kind on it?
On a, do you actually have a +2 or is it a +0? Did you include the -20?
It's a +0.
Okay. If you take another fate, I will tell you the markings on it.
Okay.
It's so early in the episode.
Nice.
He's
You got
all
all
through.
three in the first 50 minutes. Yeah. There goes the basketball game. God damn it. we need to delay AP for the basketball game until another session starts. If we get to the basketball game, I'll just go, I've got a job I've got to get to. Sorry, AP. We'll have to stop early today.
Just talk to Firebrand for 2 hours.
Unbelievable. You catch it moving to a new position. You see that it is going from directly above Father Firebrand's location to directly above your location. And as it turns to do that, you can see, even at such a great distance, 30, 40 feet away, moving through steam and pipes and darkness, you catch a clear view of the Adeptus Mechanicus sigil on the side of it. which reminds you that all of the signs you've seen every time you move between Cetes, Beta, Gamma, and Delta that indicate that Adeptus Mechanicus personnel are not allowed to operate inside these areas. The local citizenry has exiled them for their behavior.
Okay. Rassie's not going to say anything yet.
Well, that's good because it's still watching you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Getting our hands on an Auspex might help us find that rifle. If it is the rifle, I think it is. The last time I smelled this, it was in the hands of a heretic.
All right. So, is there anything else we need to do out here before we go in and see Father Firebrand?
Think we've done what we can. Curious about this heretic and the sniper rifle, but as Rassie said, without some more gear, we probably won't be able to figure out too much more here now.
Well, I mean, if we're here and you smelled it before, it probably wasn't fired at us. It was probably fired at someone else beforehand. So
Clearly,
if we find somebody who's dead with a ladder, we know who the target was.
well, I certainly hope it wasn't Violetta, although that will help one angle. It would defeat our whole purpose for being here, I think.
Right.
As you head into the facility, you can see that Patchouli is behind the desk. She's chewing on some...
Patchouli?
That's her name. That's what her name was last time.
Yeah, it was.
No, was it?
Yes.
I thought it was something totally... I'm sorry.
Oh,
I thought it was something
it's
different.
Petunia. It's Petunia. Damn it.
No,
She's behind the
real.
desk chewing some gum. She sees you come in. She stands up and says, "Oh, he's busy right now. I can get you in the next meeting. Can I get you some sweet iced tea?"
I would probably enjoy that.
Okay.
I'm trying to think
just,
if you would ever actually have had sweet iced tea.
you three just sit down. I'll bring you out some tea real quick. She takes
Thank
her
you so
gum
much.
and puts it under her desk and then heads into the break room to make you some sweet iced tea while humming to a 40K version of a Taylor Swift song. So it's probably about how you use a chainsaw to kill your ex-boyfriend who wronged you.
No, 22.
Okay.
It's 22.
She talked about fitting us in. So is there some sort of guest book, or
There is.
like can I while she's out, and can I have a look at like the most recent guests, like A, who's in there now, and B, who was here previously?
First visitor of the day was Violetta. The amount of time that she was here was about 2 minutes. There have been several other guests, all of whose names appear to have no real relation to anything that you know. Like, you're not like, oh, I recognize this person. The guest that is in right now is just listed as E. Dot.
E. Dot. Sorry. Okay. E for Echo. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Echo.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'll go sit down.
She comes out with the tea, and as you all move towards your face, if you're going to drink it, the door suddenly opens, and someone bearing a ecclesiarchal staff and several robes of office with ornamentation and a purity seal on him begins making his way out and sees all of you and just kind of, "Oh yes, you're all blessed, my children. Aquila be with you."
Can I determine like what his rank or position is based upon his garb?
Oh, all right. Hold on.
And is it also legitimate ecclesiastical garb? Is the question.
Yes, it does appear to be legitimate.
Okay.
Without any roll, it definitely appears to be.
So we're not looking at stolen faith here.
Yikes.
Wow.
He appears to be a confessor.
Okay.
Based on what you know, he's probably the confessor for the entirety of this Imperial colony.
Yeah.
So he, offers a little quick blessing for all of you, does the Imperial Aquila on his way out, and
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure the Imperial Aquila is that I'm pretty sure in this game, though, it's doing the whole,
It is now. Father Firebrand.
It's an archipelago.
Oh, yeah, it's the local colloquialism. You see the hand of Father Firebrand on the doorframe, and then he pulls his head around and says, well, hey, gang, didn't think I'd see you again. Why don't you step into my office and let's see what you've got going on?
Thank you.
He sits back down. You can see that your axe that you brought him has been, like, put up on the wall on little hangers so that someone can pull it down if needed. And it says, take in case of emergency on a little plaque. You can also see that he had a plaque with the Imperial Axiom on it, and it has been replaced. Coincidentally, it's been replaced by the same Imperial Axiom that Liturgical had, which was...
That's the thought for the day.
Intentions versus the results.
Yeah, it's intentions only matter in the absence of results.
Yeah, there you go. Velamris is going to start thinking he's living in the Matrix or something now. But Velamris will start off with saying, see, I said it would look good there. It looks really good right there. It really brings the whole room together.
Father, thank you so much for seeing us at short notice.
I'm just going to put a hand on Velamris' shoulder to, like, shut the fuck up.
We've actually come for your help with the woman you know, Violetta, I believe is her name. We had occasion recently to deal with that through our duties with the Lord Colonel of the Imperial Guard detachment on the Space Hulk. He is looking for Violetta because he believes that she was involved potentially romantically with one of his troops. And this man we have definitely concerns about because he has, in our view, misappropriated Imperial resources. He has barred us despite our credentials from entry to the Hulk where we need to conduct business on behalf of the the Darkwind trade house.
You're accusing Lord Colonel Renard of misappropriation of resources?
We don't have any evidence right now, but it seems to be like we're seeking to gather the evidence so that we can expose what may be malfeasance there. But notably, he asked us during the meeting to find this woman Violetta and to kill her. From what I can see, no crime greater than sleeping with one of his troops. So we believe that she's in danger, and she must be in danger because she either knows or saw something that he wants to keep suppressed. And I'm hoping that she might have information that would help us to build a case against him.
So he steeples his fingers and does his swivel chair to turn away from you for a moment. Keep talking.
So we were hoping you could help us find her and speak with her. First off, to make sure that she is safe from... Because we may not be the only people that the Lord Colonel tried to dispatch. And obviously every day in which we don't bring about her end is one more day likely that he is to find someone else to that end. And secondly, we hope that she might be able to give us information about why it is that he is so hell-bent on seeing her end.
Swivels his chair back and dramatically puts his hands down on the table. And as he pulls himself up to, like, half out of the chair, speaking, looking slightly down at you, kind of patriarchally, we cut to whatever commercial I decide to insert in here, and we'll be back for the next part. You ever find yourself questioning what's really going on around you? Have you ever seen 5 gods appear in your dreams? That's right. There's not just one god of humanity. There's 5. And they're all out there for you. Yes, the truth of the real God Emperor is being suppressed. He is but one of 5 gods. What we're talking about today is mass reforms to faith and government. Let's get our first caller on the line here. Talk about what the Imperium could be and what the Imperium is. Isn't quite so different. Welcome back, friends. Omar has taken the break to make a bunch of purchases into the nebulous ether. He got a mesh cow.
Yes.
Father Firebrand says, Violetta has been disturbed of late. He pulls himself to his full height and begins pacing around the room. She's always been a good attendee to my flock, but several weeks ago, she reported to me that her boyfriend had passed away. At that time, several changes began happening with her. She became very desperate to intertwine herself with me romantically, and I have rebuffed those attempts. This morning was supposed to be our first scheduled date together, where we would very chastely hold hands and walk around one block. I had approximated 15 minutes for this time, to include times to stop and do small talk. However, she came in sobbing hysterically. After calming her down with a quick clap, I got some babble from her in what could pass for low Gothic, that she was being hunted or chased, that there were horrifying beasts in the shadows watching her, red eyes on the ceiling, that she could go nowhere. I told her that this was all signs of evil manifesting in her mind and that her excessive lust was throwing her out of whack. I wrote her I want to say a doctor's note, but a ecclesiarchical excusation from work for disturbed mind note, and told her that she should go sleep it off and then pray and then go back to sleep and go to work tomorrow, pulling a double shift. And we would reschedule the date for a later time. I was going to reschedule it, schedule my rescheduling earlier, but clearly the ecclesiarchy has called on me. Apparently, there is some big meeting with a rogue trader representative happening soon within the ecclesiarchy, and there were some hopes that our various branches would come together for once. And it is my belief that the official church can certainly get behind the one true faith.
I'm involved in what you just described. I requested said meeting because I wanted to.
Oh, you're involved with the meeting, not with the horrifying beasts.
No.
In her mind. Okay.
No. I mean, it's a matter for a couple of days' time. But as I discussed with you, I think that there is an opportunity to take your flock and put them in the direction of the enemies of the Imperium, where their faith will shine like a light that would burn our enemies to ashes.
I actually did just get notice that the High Lords of Terra had issued proclamations regarding allowing the Fraterras militia to serve more efficiently, the movement of troops ecclesiarchically being allowed in a sort of naval sense. All of this is great news. It's a wonderful time to be a true believer.
Well, I guess that's a matter for 2 days' time. But for now, I'm concerned about Violetta's safety because, as I said, there are certainly people that have been sent to kill her because we are some of them. And we mean her. I give you my word.
Sorry,
we mean her no harm.
You are part of the group trying to kill her then?
No, we were asked to kill her, but I'm telling you that we mean her no harm because we believe that the person who asked us to do that is not on the level.
He sits back down in his seat. Well, I will have Tunya provide you with her address. I suggest that you approach her very calmly. You know how it is when individuals can have disturbed minds. Any sort of heresy can set them off.
The good news, Father, is that along with my role in this Order Famulus, I have medical training as well.
Excellent.
So I can see to her physically and to an extent mentally.
I suggest you bring sedatives.
I check my kit. Oh, got them right here.
Well, is there anything else I can do for you?
You've been very helpful once. Is there anything else that we can do for you?
Well, yes, your arms man, Sergeant Rassie, can attend the first meetings tonight. We've gathered up a force of our most leadership-minded mob justice vigilantes to be trained as sort of non-commissioned officers so that they can further train people in squad tactics.
It was my plan after the conclusion of my required duties today to do just that.
Fantastic. A lot 6 or more hours after your work for this volunteer service.
It's very doable.
He just blinks and stares at the three of you.
Thank you once again.
He raises a hand and says, Petunia, get them the address for Miss Violetta, please. And Petunia's just like, okay, should I get them cups for the sweet iced tea to go? And he says, yes, of course, get them the cups. Good thinking, Petunia.
Surely they should just serve them in the cups that just don't have the lid, so all they do have to give you a lid if you're taking it to go.
Starbucks technology is only found among Kin Hardbottle and other leagues of Voton.
Oh, sorry, it's from the dark age of technology.
Yes, of course.
The secret of reusable cups was lost to us millennia ago.
She gets you the plastic topped ones, but they have a face of a skull, and you're supposed to put a straw through the skull's mouth to drink. You know, it's a little plastic tab that goes down when you... The skull looks like it's screaming in pain when you look down at it to drink.
Oh, that's amazing. Amazing.
I like how last time someone said that this priest sounded insane, and I was like, this guy seems like a pretty stock standard Imperial priest. I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. If you think he sounds insane, welcome to Warhammer 40K, I guess.
if you like skulls and want some nightmare fuel, Google child skull eye teeth.
I hate whatever this guy just said.
If you
I'm
can
already
see like
getting a little weird.
You can see that, like, you can see a skull where all the adult teeth haven't come through yet, but all the child teeth are still in place. So it's it looks really freaky.
Thanks for that, James.
Great, we just got demonetized again. Not this time. Not this time. Not yet. And James, don't go out of your way. You receive the address. You also receive 3 to-go cups of sweet iced tea.
Thank you, Petunia.
Thank you so much, darling. You guys come back around now. You hear? Don't forget your prayers, and don't forget to tithe.
Of course.
You get yourself back in your half personnel carrier, half
the combat FedEx truck,
half warehouse truck, and make your way to Violetta's. I don't want to force you there if you're not going there. It sounded like
that's where I would like to go, but I don't want to speak for the whole group just yet. Is that where we're going?
Well, you're driving, so we're going where you're driving. But yeah,
all right. I guess we are going to Violetta's unless somebody objects. Let me put it that way. No objections. It is sustained. Let's go to Violetta's.
As you drive towards Violetta's, you're about to pull into a American-style stacked parking lot, and as you're about to make the left turn in, your engine dies.
AP, that's too close to home, man. I just had that problem not that long ago, and then it came back again the other day.
Is there a problem?
Yeah, the engine just died. And yes, I did the pre-drive checks.
Okay.
Apparently not very well.
I'll ready a weapon and throw the hatch to look around before he gets out.
What weapon are you using?
Let's see. My gigantic pile of weapons right now. I'll use my last carbine.
You pull the last carbine out, and you can see that the ammunition counter on the side is 0.
Okay, I sling that, and I'll check the tube on my shotgun.
That's still working.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pop the hatch and peek out with the shotgun.
As you're looking around, you can see that there are various display signs for advertisements that are turned off. Lights in Violetta's apartment building are also all turned off externally. People are walking by on like Vox communicators and get near the building, and then they're just like, what the heck? And just kind of like shake their Vox box, like complain about it.
How
In
easy
the
would we
parking
figure
garage,
that
you can
being?
see someone is trying to turn their vehicle on and it's like, just died. Got this fixed last week.
I'm gonna
Wow.
try out.
When-
I'm gonna try out my comm bead. Just like comms check.
It is dead.
Yeah.
I'll drop back through the hatch. Something seems to be suppressing the machine spirits of things in the vicinity.
Damn, that was a really good guess.
That is
My shotgun
never a good
seems.
sign.
My shotgun seems to be working, but our communications, the vehicle, things around us.
I mean, we just drove into the area. Should we get out and walk, a few feet back and see if it's like a hard limit or?
Well, I've watched people walk into radius and lose access to their Vox.
Ambush?
For us, for someone else, I'm not sure. There's no signs of violence yet.
What's happened to the servo skull?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You don't see the servo skull, either of the servo skulls.
Who has the ability to suppress machine spirits
It's not
Other
something
than-
I'm.
No,
It's
other
not,
than the Adeptus Mechanicus?
it's not something I'm familiar with.
That's not something that's not something the Mechanicus would do. That's I guess sacrilege in their mind.
Yeah, I would imagine if anybody would know how to do it, it'd be them. They just never would do it. How far from Violetta's apartment are we? Like, we could like across the street sort of deal.
Yeah. It's very close. You're probably less than 30 or 40 feet. You were just pulling into a nearby parking garage because there's no street access.
Well, we are here, and it does seem weird that the place we're going to has no power.
You
But,
have a forgettable face.
yes, that's one way to phrase it.
I would like to escort the sister to Violetta. If you could see if you could find the source of this disruption in a way that doesn't expose you.
Right. Let me put my sneaky on.
So I
And I'm
think
gonna
if
go-
this is some sort of ambush, then somebody else might be trying to kill her. So we should get to her soon. And since none of us are aware of any acceptable way for this to be occurring, there's a chance that we need to do our duty and take out whatever it is that is suppressing the good spirits in the area.
Yes.
Ancient spirits.
AP, is there a good vantage point that I can maybe set up a sniper rifle and look around?
Make
Or
a...
am I going counter ambush or am I just sneaking around trying to figure out clues, Kain? Which way are you looking here?
I mean, if you think you can handle whatever is there, you do you. But I think it's important that we figure out what might be suppressing things in the area.
Okay. In that case,
Because if it is some sort of heretical thing, then we're kind of duty bound to deal with it. So
oh yeah, absolutely. The Emperor would enforce that. Yeah, in that case, no, the sniper rifle will stay in the truck and I will start sneaking around looking for clues as to what might be disrupting the machine spirits.
Okay. Make a awareness sight, but before you do that, you're still in the area that you scouted previously, so just make sure that your talent may or may not apply here. The talent that you used to scout the area.
that was our
it was just
downtime.
a
Oh, it was a
benefit.
downtime
action.
action. Yes.
Yeah, and that gives me
I think it was plus 10 on lore-based.
Lore and navigation.
Yeah.
For around home and office, basically.
I will allow that to apply to this if you want to take a plus 10 to this awareness. Honestly, navigation is probably the better role for this, I think.
Okay, so then
you're trying to find a place.
Yeah, so I'll have advantage, and then you said a plus 10 as well?
Mm-hmm. We will come to what you find. Exactly. We see you blend into the crowd, and people are just like, hey, I'm walking here, as you slam into them. You see that people whose electronic devices have entered into the area and then left, the devices still don't work. You begin searching for both the source of where this is coming from and for a potential, like, sniping position, and you locate an area on another rooftop that you think would allow you to see directly into Violetta's apartment. So you begin making your way up another apartment building. You like enter, and you could see it's not that the elevator in this building has stopped working recently. You could see that there's a very old sign on a rusty elevator door that says out of order.
It's the Big Bang Theory elevator.
When you walk in, the building manager's just like, yeah, hasn't worked in years. We can't get a Mechanicus out here ever since the population chased them off. What are you looking for, son?
Know anything about this power outage?
No power outage in my building. You'd never catch me dead with a power outage in this building. You mean over there? I don't know what's going on with those people, you know. The cheap apartments. They cost half as much as us, but they're twice as bad.
Yeah, I see that all the time. You got roof access I can get up to? I want to try and take a look around.
Sure. Go up on my roof. I'm not going to ask why.
Sure. Well, thank you.
You're very clearly holding several firearms on you. I just stopped asking. Okay.
And one's in a case.
3, what do I care? I'm a building manager. I don't get paid enough to ask questions.
Yes, your clearance is infrared. Got it.
Okay, listen, buddy. Just don't disturb the local guests, and I'm not going to ask what you're doing here, okay?
No problem. And I'm just going to go straight up the stairs. I'm not going to...
I was reminded the other day of an incident 20 years ago in my career where I was working on the roof of a 12-story building to install a camera on the very corner of the building. And we had to tether into tether points on the roof so that if you fell off, obviously you'd be caught by the arrest and stuff. But it's still like, because literally the building edge was like, if this is the ground, there's like that much of like a little lip. Otherwise, it's straight off a 12-story drop. So we were like down on our knees, like working on the camera. Anyway, when we got up to leave, I went to unclip my harness from the roof retainer, and the retainer pulled out of the roof.
Oh boy!
Well, good thing nothing ever happened for you there, James.
Yeah, well, when Velamris left, we locked up the truck because I'm escorting Sister Holly.
I light a couple of candles and pass one to Rassie, and I'll carry one too. So
do you have candles on your sheet?
It's a survival kit. A survival kit includes candles and a fire starter.
The two of you take your candles and begin making your way into the building. As you go through the front door, you can see that several disturbed residents are in the lobbyway arguing with each other. One of them is trying to pry open the elevator doors, and you can hear someone inside just sobbing, just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I peed myself. I did it. I've been in here for an hour. I'm so sorry, everybody." Two of the residents are having a discussion. One of them says, "Yeah, I saw it this morning while I was out walking my animal, and it just kind of stared at me for a while. I didn't know." And then, like, the two people having the discussion turn to look at the two of you and say, "Sister, oh, I'm sorry. Can we help you?"
We've just come in to look on the welfare of a resident here. But what's happened? What's happened to the power and everything here?
Oh, we're not sure. We're trying to get a handyman down here. My cousin actually is a member of the Adeptus Mechanicus, so I'm trying to see if we can get him here sometime this week. We'll see if we can
This
slot
happened
him
today?
in. Yes, a few hours ago, right around 7 a.m.
Sorry, I couldn't help but overhear you talking about something you saw this morning as well. Was it something that...
So the other person says, oh, yes, I was out walking my tiny dog on a leash. See, her name is Cherry, and we take a walk every morning. Hold on, let me go get Cherry. And she opens her door, and you can hear her going, Cherry, come here, girl. Come here, come here, come here. She comes back out holding a dog and says, okay, so settle in. It's going to be a long conversation. Ever since Cherry was 2 years old, she's been a very nervous peer, you understand? A very nervous peer. So no one can look at her while she's doing the deed outside. And of course, once it's all done, you have to go in there, and if there's any poop, you got to clean it up. Otherwise, they'll take your hand off. You know, that's the local H.O.A. rules. If your dog is found having left poop outside the building, they chop your hand off. That way, you'll remember next time better not to do it. We have a lot of H.O.A. rules around here. I've actually been trying to become the secretary of the H.O.A. for some time, but the bylaws are very arcane. You know, my ex-husband was a law enforcement officer at like the lowest levels. He was never able to figure out all of this code stuff. So anyway, Cherry and I were going out for her nervous pee in the morning, right around 7 a.m. That's when I woke up. Had a nice cup of recaf with me, was sipping from it. Not one of those reusable cups. We haven't had those around for thousands of years. Actually, some people say you can get them from Kin Hard Bottle, but I've never been able to get one. They're a limited edition item. So Cherry was about to pee. I saw her do her dance, so I turned away, and then she started growling, and so I looked down the alleyway, and Cherry was pointed in a specific direction, and I kind of looked that way, and then I heard a noise behind me, and I saw like a dark hole in the ground that was like 1 inch down in, and I was like, oh, it smells like smoke. Was that a gunshot? I don't really know. And then Cherry started running away. I thought I saw a strange shape of like a flesh beast. I'm sure it was just someone's dog rooting in the trash behind the building, though. And that probably wasn't a gunshot outside in the alleyway right around the corner to the left. You know, just walk around the building to the left. At this time, Velamris, you have moved fully into position. You can see that... by the way, I've been thoroughly wasting the two of your time.
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly, it's whenever the GM tries to pull, oh, this person starts rambling, I just let them ramble because A, the GM's got to make it up, and B, it might have some useful information.
Velamris, you make your way onto the roof. You can clearly, this is one of those roofs that has like tiny pebbles all over it. As you move to set up your sniper rifle to look into Violetta's apartment, you can see when you're about to kneel down, someone has already done exactly what you have done before. And the strong smell of like oxidizing agents and the outgassing of certain types of servitors, specifically Chaderius, kind of fills the area around you. And you notice
and the Skitari are...
They are the Imperial Guard for the Adeptus Mechanicus. Okay. Yeah, they're cybernetic super soldiers.
Got it.
It would have been funny if Velamris came out and like laid down next to another sniper and just like, hey, how you doing?
Professional courtesy. Just want to make sure we're not trying to shoot the same person.
You see through your sight that there is a gun servitor with a heavy bolter standing with his back towards you and his gun aimed at the front door. He's inside Violetta's apartment, pointing his gun towards the front door of Violetta's apartment from the inside. Her apartment has been totally trashed. The walls have been like partially ripped out. All of the paint has been scoured away. Certain things inside there are twisted, melted, or burned.
And this is, and I only see the one gun servitor, whatever you call it.
Correct. He has his back to you, and you can see that he is pointed towards the door.
All right.
Just shoot anyone that comes in.
Yeah. And you guys are about to come in, is what's going through Velamris'
No,
mind right
they're
now.
on the first floor listening to a woman who wants to run for the
we were
secretary.
going there, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Velamris is not aware of where exactly you guys are. He knows you're in the building.
And you know that
Making
we
your
want
way
to
up.
go there.
Yeah. AP, I would have used the vial of sacred unguents on the sniper rifle.
Okay.
As part of my setup.
Sure.
I need to make a tech use test at no modifier.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do that really quick. Where are you? Excellent. Now I get a free reroll if I missed the shot.
Okay.
But I'm also going to put a fate point on it.
Well, if you have the time to aim gives you advantage anyway. Like if it's not in combat, you take action to aim. That gives you advantage.
That is true. Plus 10 for aiming.
No. It gives you advantage, not plus 10.
Oh, it gives you advantage. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna take a shot. I wish. Well, no, my comm bead's not working, right? Like I can't.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So I kind of have to act on my own. So I am going to. Where is Violetta? Is she anywhere nearby that I can
You
tell?
do not see Violetta anywhere inside her apartment.
So the only moving living object is this gun servitor.
Not moving. Questionable whether it's living.
Correct.
But yes.
But as far as okay, yeah, I'm taking
The
a shot.
apartment, by the way, is dark.
It's living, Arthur. Otherwise, it will be tech heresy.
Okay, well,
It would be AI.
you know, James.
It has organic components which are still alive. May just be the brain of a rat, but it's.
All right, so I'm taking a shot. Advantage. I have a reroll from the unguent. And I shot it in the body.
18 advantage. All right, let me pull the gun servitor stats. What is your damage?
The sniper rifle does 8.
Plus the degrees of success.
Yes, plus the SL, which is 4. So it looks like 12 is what I'm coming up
Does
with.
it have any penetration?
That's weird. It doesn't show any in here.
No, I think sniper rifles have
Let me look
quality.
at the book. They have loud and they have something else. Give me a second. Those are weapon traits I want.
Sniper rifle is loud, two-handed.
That's the other one, yeah.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
Let me see.
So they don't have penetrating. No.
Oh, that's right. Because I was thinking of Rogue Trader and the like, where penetration is an actual stat.
Were you using?
It does.
Did you have different ammo? Or not?
I do have different ammo. What did I have? I have Manstopper.
Manstoppers have penetration 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Then that will fully go through. You'll deal 12 of the 16 wounds on this servitor. You nearly kill it in one shot. So we're now going to start a combat between you and me. You have a superiority of 1 because you have surprise on this target. And I will take any arguments you have towards the other 2 points of superiority. So one of them is knowing your opponent. I would want some sort of test that you know a lot beforehand. You also don't know this battlefield. You kind of just set up and shot it immediately.
Right, but I can hide because I want to imagine that the rooftop has that little bit of like a.
Just listen, you made the shot on a unsilenced sniper rifle. There's no.
Oh no, it's silence. It's silence.
You have a silencer?
I do. Both my weapons have
then I will
silencers
allow
now.
you to make a attempt to hide right now versus their attempt to find you.
Okay. Any modifiers?
Nope.
Actually, I think I do have one. Let me see.
Okay.
Could we make an argument because of Velamris' origin that he is more familiar than other people normally would be?
No.
Because of the forge rule?
No.
Okay.
Listen, that has carried you so far in this episode so far, and identifying Skitari on top of a bunch of other things.
And knowing that I'm looking at a gun servitor, what I
Yeah,
probably wouldn't really
what
know
you know
what I'm
about a
looking
gun
at.
servitor is that it has a shoulder-mounted gun.
Good. Gotta try.
He didn't even make an attempt to like
take.
perception it or anything. I just told him things and he was like, all right, I'm gonna take a shot. All right, you need to hide. He's
Now-
breaking up.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too.
Okay, good. I hear everybody else. It's not me.
Is it me?
It's you.
It is.
But you still
Am I
need to
clear
take that
now?
roll.
Yeah. So I'm hiding. That
Yes.
is not good. Oh, there goes my connection, and it reestablished. So,
Okay.
I made the roll.
I have not seen that.
It's not in the chat.
Yeah.
It's an awareness test.
That was his.
Yes, that
Oh,
was
I'm
my
using a-
awareness.
Yeah. And I meant to use advantage because I'm using a fate point to keep it from being able to see me.
Okay.
Let's see if that goes through.
So we're just rolling through advantages.
Oops, there we go.
That is a success with +2. Okay. It turns, does not immediately see you. I will give you +2 superiority going in. It has an initiative of 3. How are you doing?
I have initiative 7.
You are going first.
Okay.
The distance between you two is probably like 20 meters. So one zone, or let's call it medium range. It's not
He's
going to
got
matter.
long
You
scope.
both have long range weapons.
Yeah, I have extreme range with the sniper
Okay.
rifle. So.
Yeah, I mean,
I
you're,
don't. Yeah,
Sorry?
omniscope. Which he's got an omniscope too, which also reduces the effective range.
sure, it really will not matter. You're both using weapons well suited for longer ranges than where you're at. It is
and I will
turning. It is having trouble finding you. It's not that it doesn't know where you are. I mean, you just shot it with the rifle and you're on the top of a building. But there's darkness involved. There's confusion. You have +2 superiority here. You're acting
So
first.
that's +20 on your attack roll, or it's +2 SL for your attack roll.
Well, that was during the surprise round. He can add that on a future roll for sure.
Oh, I'm definitely going to shoot it again.
Okay.
So am I adding the 2 SL right now, or
Well, superiority is not something you expend normally. It's like if you have superiority, it applies to all rolls until you lose superiority.
okay? So
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Then
So
I'm
when you-
going to add another. I'm going to add the one that you had at that time for getting the snipe shot on, and now you're at a +2.
Yeah. So in your attack roll, there's an SL modifier.
Yeah.
So put 2 in the SL modifier.
Okay.
But you're not with advantage because you haven't aimed. So it's whether you want to spend the fate point to get the aiming, get the advantage in the attack roll again.
So you're saying I can't use aim again? So
Well, if you take an action to aim, then attack the next
Okay.
round. If it's like firing every other round sort of thing.
I would definitely take a moment to aim if I can, but I'll leave that to the GM to say.
I believe if you take that moment to aim, you can't also shoot, right?
Yeah. So that means the servitor will get to act before you shoot.
Oh yeah, no, I want to shoot him dead before he can act.
Then make
Yeah,
that
but
shot.
you could still use the fate point to get the advantage.
I guess it.
Okay.
I think it's dead.
Well, I get a dodge. I clicked dodge. It didn't really do anything. Try skills. Is it reflexes for dodge?
Reflexes dodge, yeah.
Okay, I just need an impossibly low number to succeed. Okay, yes, you shoot him and he's super dead. The round hits its body and deflects up through the top of its head and sprays brain matter everywhere. It collapses to the ground. The heavy bolter just kind of, and you lose sight of it because, you know, you're looking in a window and see the floor level. You
I'm
have
going to-
successfully killed this thing beforehand. You hear someone screaming below you. Just like, I'm telling you, it's those kids again with their airsoft guns on the roof. I'm going up there and I'm gonna talk. And then you hear someone go, no, honey, it's the middle of the day. It can't be the kids with it's probably just a vehicle backfiring. Look out the window. There's all sorts of vehicles stopping outside the apartment building over there. And you hear the guy go, no, I'm going up there. And if I find anyone up there, I'm going to give them a right proper thumping. Like straight up. I've got my beating stick. You hear this out of an open window beneath you.
Someone on the ground floor caught like a bit of hot brass from the ejected shell.
Okay, a silent sniper rifle doesn't make a sound like thwip. It makes a sound like, hey, someone fired a gun near me.
The best description I've ever heard for what a silenced gunshot sounds like is taking like a bunch of hardcover books and dropping them onto a table.
Yeah. Yep. That would make sense.
Okay. We are going to cut back to the other group, and I will let you know when you get to act next for being snuck up on by a guy with a thumping bat. Holly and Rassie, you cut back to this woman who says, "Oh, did you hear that? Did that sound like the sound of shattering glass directly above us 3 floors? That's so strange."
All right, we better go check on this person. Thank you very much for your time. I will make sure I send you a letter to you that you can share with your homeowners association to show that you are a good citizen of the Empire.
Oh, she puts a hand on your shoulder and another on your arm. Oh, thank you so much. That'll allow me to bypass all sorts of rules. And I'm going to hold it over my neighbor, Susan, for years to come. She doesn't have a framed, signed letter from a sister.
Thank you for your time. And I push her with the shotgun.
Oh, it's so rough.
Sister.
She just sits there and pets her tiny dog Cherry as the two of you begin making your way up the staircase. You arrive at the door outside Violetta's apartment. You can see that there is blood on the staircase as you're making your way up, and that there are some weird claw marks of tracked blood on the ground leading to the front door of her apartment.
Towards it, okay. But the door is closed?
The door is closed.
All right. To the Rassie, I think this is probably your show.
Rassie's already moving to boot the door. Claw marks and blood, I'm not knocking.
Tactically boot the door open into a nightmare vision of hell. There is very clearly a gun servitor who has been exploded. The bottom half of him seems fine. He has a shoulder-mounted heavy bolter that the barrel is scratching up the floors right now. The walls have all been torn up. Several things in here have been set on fire, or like a metal toaster device has been melted into a twisted lump. You could see that the couch cushions have been like knifed into, and then everything inside has been thrown around and torn. You also are, I believe only Holly is affected by this. Hold on a second. Are blanks affected by corruption in this edition?
I'm immune to corruption.
Okay, Holly, we're going to have to go through the corruption rules here. As you can see very plainly while entering, there are several runes of chaos. Let's see here. Page 220 is the rules on gaining corruption. They are on the window facing toward Velamris, who you can see is ejecting a cartridge out of his gun. He's ejecting the spent bolt. That wall has chaos runes. It is a minor exposure. You can resist with discipline because this is a spiritual corruption.
Yes. Okay. I get +10 on the discipline because I have a holy icon. And I'm using my faithful talent once per game to add 3 SL from my willpower to this as well.
A good time.
Nice.
3 SL. You know, I'll actually spend my first fate point today since Kain was so,
risky.
Liberal.
99.
I think I have to spend a second fate point to make that a success.
Oh my god.
Jeez,
a 99 on
Louise.
resisting corruption.
Yeah.
You become aware in a way that Rassie is literally unable to. The runes here might affect the weakest among you, but they are just a small mere part of the corruption that emanating in this apartment. The atmosphere, the environment itself is corrupt. Something has been set here, something was done here, and it permeates. Rassie, you look at the wall and you're just like, oh, there's some weird scratches.
Yeah, someone jacked up this apartment.
Yeah. I would like you. What is tracking in this system? I feel like that is a skill.
I think it runs off
Navigation, I believe. You're talking about like if you're trying to actually hunt somebody or chase somebody down.
Yes.
Because I have one of my talents is Skulker. Well, no, I know, but I'm using this for why it's probably navigation because it is because when I'm when I'm attempting to follow a person or group using navigation tracking, I don't need to make stealth tests to remain undetected.
Okay. Rassie, I would like you to make a navigation tracking test.
Nice.
Okay. That is a +1 success.
Yeah.
You determine that several things have happened. You don't have any fate, so you can't get more. Here's what you know. At least 3 individuals have been in this apartment recently. 2 of them have left. You know that there is a track of someone who is approximately like 5'6", about 100-ish pounds, that has left, and they went out the fire escape. And there is another individual that entered through the window by opening it from the outside and left the same way. They are probably quite tall, and their weight easily exceeds 1,000 pounds. The third individual entered through the front door, turned around, and stood there, and is definitely the gun servitor.
Okay.
Now by the way, we're getting this through like you leaning down and like observing clues that are popping out towards you with like extra context, black and white cinematics where like you're not sure how the window opens from the outside, but you see it slide, and then like something slithers and moves in a strange motion inside.
Does it look like it fit through the window, or did it burst? Like, did it break a wider hole?
No, the window is quite large, and it has recently been shot through, but it was intact until Velamris shot through it. Okay. You do notice that the paint around the edge has all been scratched in every direction and has left some like sort of steel indentation, like something very hard came through the window and ruined it in the process. The windowsill.
Somebody shoulder checked the windowsill because they didn't account for how big they are.
It's not like one area. It's like the whole window has all been scraped as something forced its way through.
Yeah.
So first off, is the gun servitor have any identifying information about like any sort of ownership?
Majority of its torso and head are gone.
Yeah.
But you do notice that it has Mechanicus sigilry and heraldry about it, and its leg contains like a return to owner number for the exiled Adeptus Mechanicus.
Okay, so write that down. You said there were claw marks before as well?
There were claw marks that were left in blood leading to the apartment, and then there are claw marks around the apartment.
When you say left in blood, like the claws actually cut furrows into like
yes.
Or is it just okay? Cool. So I'm going to take
bloody claws made their way up the staircase.
I will wash out one of the claw things just with a bit of water from my canteen, and then I'm going to melt a candle into the claw marks, and then let the wax cool.
You need the whole candle because it's quite large.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay.
You
Just so
have
I get
a
some-
wax imprint of it.
Okay.
I know Rassie's not going to know any of these symbols, and that's good for Rassie.
Ignorance is bliss, my friend.
Yeah. Is there anything anything Rassie would have been taught about, even if completely, totally incorrect, in his primer about something 1,000 pounds that fit through that window?
Make a lore
You're fine.
test at -20.
Your primer is always 100% accurate, and you know that, guardsman.
Look, I'm not the one who said. Rassie's not the one who said that. I'm the one who said that. Modifier -20.
You're really luck-shotting this one, huh?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's worth a try.
No.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Yeah. I mean, Rassie is watching as as Sister Holly is starting to clean that out and says, 3 things came in, 2 things left. That one's not dangerous.
They both left through the door, or did anything go back through the window?
The whatever came in this window was quite heavy, and it went back out the window. I think Violetta fled down the fire escape.
Well, whoever went into the hallway had claws.
You're certain?
I'll hold up the wax sculpture.
So the claw marks outside the apartment, the bloody claw marks,
Or going
lead
in.
up the last flight of stairs and lead to the front door.
Okay.
Now that you have a exact claw mark, you are noticing they're different than the ones that are on the walls in here. I just can't wait for James to cast him into darkness by taking Rassie's candle and getting a second claw mark imprint.
I was thinking that too.
Well, my thing just said it contains candles. Doesn't say how many candles it contains. It contains candles, plural.
Sure.
But
I'm not stopping you. If you want to get a second imprint, you certainly can.
Well, whoever fled down the fire escape was maybe 100 pounds. It certainly seems far more likely that was Violetta than I don't know, whatever came through that window was somewhere around 1,000 pounds. That thing was heavy.
All right. As much as I want to try and pursue a quarry, this room, what is here, is dangerous. For anyone else to find it, it is steeped in the workings of the archenemy and needs to be. I'm half tempted to set fire to this room, and what happens to the building is in the God Emperor's hands. But I'm also cautious about destroying any evidence we might need.
Rassie looks shocked and then looks around and then just makes a point of stopping looking around. Says, if you say it is so, sister, what do you want to do? If anybody else entering this is dangerous, I can certainly post a sentry outside the door. Not sure what to do about the room. It's certainly a mess.
See, yeah.
Velamris, I want to cut back to you. You know that you've probably got about 20 to 30 seconds before a man with a thumping stick comes out and beats your ass.
Since I overheard that conversation,
You can see Holly and Rassie, by the way, breaking into the room and starting to look around.
Yeah, it seems like they've got it under control. So I'm just going to roll over onto my back and pull out my auto pistol and train it on the door access to the roof.
Great.
And I'm going to convince this guy we're doing Imperial business.
Okay. The door opens and a man with a bat sees a dude lying on the ground with a gun pointed at him, and he goes, "Whoa! Whoa! Whoa! Hey! Oh! Whoa!" He starts walking backwards, starts shutting the door.
Yeah, if he leaves the rooftop, I'm just gonna resume Overwatch.
Okay, several seconds later, you can hear him speaking loudly to his partner, and he goes, "Hey, there's a guy up there. He pulled a gun on me. Call the local vigilantes. We need to get a mob down here to do with this guy. All right? I'm gonna get the building manager. We're gonna make sure that this guy can't leave. Maybe we'll lock the door or something. Just call them. She's like, are you sure this isn't the kids again? He's like, damn it, woman, call the vigilantes. Get on the damn Vox. You hear someone pull one of the, what's it called when you do the multiple?
The
Rotary.
You can hear someone get on the rotary and just being like, hello, local vigilante, chapter 314. I'd like to report an armed man on the building. He pulled a gun on my husband. I believe he might be dangerous. Oh, there's a 2-hour waiting time? Okay, well, send somebody as soon as you can. We're going to trap him on the roof. Oh, my day is going well. Thank you for asking. I hope your day is going. We cut back to Holly and Rassie.
The worst thing in Australia with rotary phones was the fact that our emergency number here is 000, and of course 0 is the longest thing for the rotary to dial back. I think it was also Pixel was the one that you were least likely to accidentally dial on a rotary phone.
That makes sense.
All right.
If this room is truly dangerous, would it not be too dangerous to investigate the room itself further?
Well, some of us have been trained to resist these sorts of things, but I also don't know what I'm looking for.
If you've got special training for this, then I have faith in you, sister. I'll make sure nobody else enters.
Look, I will start. Like, I'll do a toss of the room. Like, I'll open drawers. I will look for anything written. You know, I mean, obviously something horrible has happened here, but I want to try and identify more about what's been happening here up until this point. Like, this damage, the fire, was that recent? Was it old? You know, is there still heat from the melted stuff, or has it been sitting there for a while? I'm just trying to see what else I can learn from investigating this room.
I would like a logic investigation roll.
Okay.
And I'll get that when we return for the third of this show. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Do you need a captain? Any captain for your starship? Come on down to Roscoe Betrung Staffing Solutions. We've got rogue traders for days, eager to flash a warrant at you. Yes, some of you might be asking, what happens when a rogue trader loses their ship? Does their line end? No. 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 Homeless rogue traders, fully capable of absolutely managing a ship, are now available at rock bottom prices. Have you ever wondered what it would like for your children to be nobility? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have complete and utter control over the life of one of the most powerful individuals in the Imperium? Come on down. We're floating out here outside the reach of the Imperium, and we've got not 1, not 2, not 10. We've got 22 different rogue traders you can choose from. Yes, they have all lost everything that they have, and you can take one home today. Well, you tell me what you want to do next, group.
I'm making that roll you're talking about.
Oh, yes. Let's do that.
Ooh, -2. I can't bite up to a 0.
Can you re-roll it? Is it worth re-rolling? I don't remember what the roll was for.
Investigation.
Yeah.
Are we live? Or are we still on?
We're live.
No, live. No, I don't want to spend my last fate point.
Okay. You begin going through what you can piece together of Violetta's stuff. There are several magazines that are from 2 weeks ago, last week, and 2 days ago that are pregnancy, like you're becoming a mom soon, or so you want to get pregnant. There's
prenatal stuff.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Yeah, that sort of thing. There are a lot of profiles of strong looking, like buff ecclesiarchical men, specifically Father Firebrand, but also 2 other priests. Not just like for Father Firebrand, there's a lot of stuff like posters of him, signed photographs of him, pamphlets from various things that she's attended. For the other 2 individuals, They appear to be local clerics of some administrative power within the ecclesiarchy, and they each got like a magazine article, one like 5 years ago. But, it's like them with their gun over their shoulder, like, yeehaw, I'm a priest of the ecclesiarchy, and this is how we're going to ministrate you, sort of deal. Like, it was a real ego piece. Yeah, I feel like that's all you get on a -2. It's a solid failure.
Yeah. All right.
Velamris, you know that the vigilantes, who are not the police, by the way, no one called the police, they just called the local people who will murder you, are on their way and could be here within 2 hours. What would you like to do?
Okay, first, how tall is this building that I'm on top of?
4 stories. It almost is touching the top of the plate level that lead up to the next level.
Oh, for the next level of the
because you're in an asteroid,
Yeah. Well, 2 questions. One, with the survival gear, there's rope. Is there a way for me to rappel down the side of the building if I need to go that way?
Yeah, we're gonna make a roll on that for sure.
Oh, of course.
I'm gonna have you do it at disadvantage as well.
Yeah, of course. Why would it be easy?
What are you tying it to? Like,
Yeah. The other question I have too is, and I realize Velamris wouldn't know this, but I as a player would, in my attempting to assess my current situation, would I have noticed any AdMech servo skulls floating around at my height?
Make a awareness perception check again. Awareness sight.
Well, I don't think Kain ever mentioned the AdMech servo skull, did he? He kept it to himself. So I didn't really know about it.
But he is looking for AdMech servo skulls, and that's a very legitimate check right now. I have no issues taking this.
Any modifiers?
No.
Well, I definitely don't see any skulls.
At a -6, you definitely don't see any skulls, or anything for that matter.
Yeah, I guess I'm too focused on how to exfil.
I feel like you're probably just like, damn, that was a great shot and a good follow-up,
no, that's
too.
exactly what he's
nailed
feeling.
That guy.
Yeah, that's
saved
exactly
my
what he's
whole
feeling.
team's life.
Absolutely. In that case, I am looking around for secure anchor points because it looks like I may have to repel.
Well, I got to tell you, at a -6, you got a sort of loose-looking anchor point that you think could be problematic.
Because I feel like if I go down the stairs,
it's actually a ring pull from a can someone dropped on the roof.
I was definitely the whole time during the break I was thinking like, how am I getting it off? I've got rope in the survival kit. I could probably tie it off, but I'm thinking of your story from earlier. You could
call the Adeptus Mechanicus or you could call the Elysian drop troopers with your non-working comm bead and have them fly onto the roof and lift you off.
Well, here's my other question too, that if I am still in this bubble of no power, whatever.
No, you went in initially. This building still has power.
Okay.
This is a different building across the street.
Okay. Yeah. No, I wanted to make sure about that too.
When you went in there, all of your electronic devices stopped working and have not started again.
Correct. I'm going to pack up my stuff, grab the 2 shells, and then I'm going to try the door to the stairs. The door. See if
you rattle it. It's definitely locked. You hear someone on the other side go, "Yep, it's me, the building manager again. Well, I heard you're threatening people with guns, so I'm going to make sure that somebody takes care of you, bud. Don't worry, vigilantes are on their way."
I do not have talkie skills, so, and my fellowship is ridiculous, so.
But you do have guns.
Do have guns, and I can threaten somebody, but I really...
Threatening is also a talking skill.
Yeah. But I also don't feel like shooting my way through an apartment building. I feel like that's going to be very bad for the Inquisition. What
are we doing? Raid?
I'm sure they'll be happy to, exonerate me, but I'm sure they'll also be giving me a very stern talking to after that. So yeah, I guess I'm going down the side of the building. And hoping to God I don't kill myself.
I'd like you to make an athletics roll with climbing subset at disadvantage.
What does disadvantage do? It'll flip the numbers against me.
If it's worse, yeah.
Yeah.
The fate point would put it back to regular.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if that's a good use of my final fate point.
And you're
Might wanna hold
unskilled
on
at
to that.
this. You're doing it in a haste without proper equipment. I mean, just tying a rope to an object is not the same thing as
No.
repelling equipment.
If your roll is already going to be bad, doing it at disadvantage is basically a guaranteed failure.
Yes.
So that canceling that disadvantage is going to be pretty significant.
Yeah, we're gonna
Odds
use
wise,
our-
anyways.
Good thing I get my fate points back in the next session because now
Am
I
I
have
crazy
9.
in thinking the best you can do at disadvantage is a 50? Right? Because otherwise it would get reversed?
No, 11.
11? Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that works. So I was crazy, audience.
I'm
But
spending my last fate
only
point, by the way.
doubles would do that for you.
Yeah,
Right?
you
Otherwise,
only
like a
little bit
12 would
crazy,
turn into a
'cause-
21. No, that would still work. I was totally wrong. Don't worry about it. I was totally wrong. I just need to work through the logic of it. Make your roll
Yeah,
for
I'm gonna cancel that disadvantage with my
Okay.
final fate point.
You do have rope because you got a survival kit as well. So
Yes, yeah, and it looks like I survived my descent.
Okay.
even with disadvantage, you would have succeeded. Wow, you rolled a 12, would have been a 21, still success.
3
Yeah.
o'clock position behind you. You make your way down the side of the building. Every time you do a new thump, you feel that piton rattling on the rooftop. You get to the bottom. You see some guy walk past and go, "Hey, bud, do you have the time?"
I'm going to look at my sundial because I
Okay.
have to make sure I blend in as best as I can. And this is the fad. And I say it's looks like it's late afternoon. I have no idea. what
It's
time
not
it
really
is.
that precise. I mean, I could have told you it was late. Okay. Thanks for nothing, bud. And he keeps walking past you.
And then I am going to go back to the vehicle.
Okay. The non-working vehicle.
Yeah, I'm sure I have a feeling that I can't do much, but I'm gonna at least try to assess and see what I can do.
Okay, we'll cut back to that in a second. Holly and Rassie, what are you doing?
So we either try and cordon this place off and you send one of your guards here and we come back to it later. And it's quite possible that what's written on the walls here is what's causing the disruption to the electronics. Or we torch it now and escape via the fire escape.
If you don't think there's any more evidence here that we need to get, then I feel like the longer we leave this here, the more we're inviting disaster.
I think that destruction is more important than information. So I look around for anything here I can set up with my fire starter to start something that will spread through the apartment.
I pull out my flamethrower.
Oh, okay.
I love the idea that Haley's like going for a lighter or something. Rassie's just
The dramatic sound behind
Lighting
you
up
of the
the
pilot light. Sister, I can accomplish this.
So the fire escape is accessible from the window, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll get to the fire escape first. We can go down that way.
Okay. Now, you're not making any attempt to warn anyone or contain this blaze. Your primary concern is just setting the room on fire and removing the corruption.
Yeah.
Okay.
And letting the God Emperor sort out who needs to be burned and who doesn't.
There is no roll necessary for a flamethrower into a building.
I will, because I saw weird stuff scribbled on the windows, even if I don't know what they are, I am going to...
They're scribbled on the
light everything-
walls, not the windows.
Okay. Sure. Then, yeah, I light everything up.
Yeah.
Go
I'm
down the
sure
fire
it's,
escape.
it's up to code, so...
Velamris,
Yeah.
the only way you can attempt to restart this engine is the application of sacred unguents,
Sure.
which will allow you to make a tech use roll to fix the engine.
You probably get it out of the area of effect though first.
Do I need to move it out of the area, or am I just trying to wake up the spirits who are currently being put to sleep?
You
does
tell me
Velamris
what
think?
you want to do.
I mean, I think that's what Velamris is thinking, is like the machine spirits are dormant, made dormant, or what have you, and these unguents are going to wake them up. It's like smelling salts in a way.
I suppose. I mean, the servitor was functioning inside the area of effect,
That's
so
correct.
there must be a way for some machinery to function within the area of effect.
Yeah. So it's a tech use to use the unguents, and then
Yes.
a tech
And then
use
a
to start it
follow-up
up.
tech use to
Right.
tech use the engine.
Whew. Barely got that one in. All right, so the unguents are applied correctly in
You
some
get
fashion. to this
advantage
vehicle.
on the next tech roll test to get the
All right.
engine working again.
And I'm out of fate points. So I'm down to 2
What you
uses
see
of those
is the
unguents.
unguents dry up and become
Yeah.
a film on the engine as you're trying to get working on it. Even in just like 1 minute, you're like, oh, this
Yeah,
is
clearly
unnatural.
And clearly, I did something wrong, or there is that he doesn't know there's chaos at the moment. I'm
You
also
now
going
know
to,
that there's something unnatural. This should not have
Correct.
happened.
Yeah, and I want to remove that film with
And
whatever rags I
torching
can use.
the room hasn't affected this aura.
Not quite yet.
So yeah, I'm gonna wipe off the unguents. I believe I can't try again until tomorrow.
That's correct. You need 24 hours.
But I'm definitely noting that the spirits are either completely suppressed or there's far more weird shit going on than I can understand.
All right, Velamris. It's time for another awareness sight test.
Awesome. Let's do it now that all my fate points are gone.
We're
Okay,
following up on the huge number.
As a party, we have what, 1 fate point?
I believe, yeah.
The sister has
James
1
has
left.
I have one.
Yeah.
I have one. Yep.
You have the only one.
Do I have any modifiers on this awareness?
Nope.
Okay. I don't see it.
Okay. Holly, Rassie, the two of you turn. You're about to make your way down the fire escape when you watch someone appear out of the darkness. Velamris is like closing up the engine. You watch someone stick him with something like a cattle prod and put a black bag over his head and drag him into the vehicle.
Our vehicle?
Yes, your
Or their-
vehicle.
Okay.
Motherfucker.
All right, 'cause
I'm going fast. I'm running as fast
You
as the
start
sister
making
can
your
run.
way down the fire escape, and from out of the alleyway, a mechadendrite comes around and is holding a gun in your face, Rassie. As you're like making it to the bottom, you're like, whoa. You hear binaric blasts as at least 2 individuals are speaking to each other in the alleyway as another mechadendrite makes its way around the corner and a tech priest strolls around and says, Veteran Sergeant Rassie Van Lucht. Hello. I am a tech priest and you are under arrest. End of conversation.
This confusion on Rassie's face. I don't understand.
I'll be right back.
Ominous intimidation. Please get on your knees immediately before I shoot you in the head. End of conversation.
Sister?
This guy just like looks into the alleyway while another mechadendrite comes out of his body to watch you, and a second person walks around the corner with like 3 arms, 3 shotguns.
If the sister doesn't say anything, Rassie's
I'm here as well,
Swaggering
so-
arrogance.
so-
Go ahead, make my day. End of line.
Am I conscious at all
No.
inside the back of the truck?
No,
Okay.
you're just completely knocked out.
Okay.
I suggest that we surrender and deal with this wherever they're going. And
Okay. The 2 tech priests begin blasting binaric at each other. And then one of them is just like, do not worry, you will not be harmed. Submit. And they pull out cattle prods, and unless you do anything, they're going to get both of you.
that's actually knock us out before they take us. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess that's
No, I Rassie slings the shotgun. It just sort of puts his hands out and sighs.
As the 2 of you are going out, Rassie, you're like, you struggle through it for a second. You hear one of them go, the entire building will need to be destroyed to reconsecrate the area. And the first one goes, sorry. They would have said it like, oh, what emotion would they attach to this? Steadfast resolve. The entire building will need to be destroyed in order to reconsecrate the area. End of line. And the other one goes, unsurpassed glee. It will be a shame to destroy this whole area and all of these heretics. Make sure that we have the Skitarii eliminate any witnesses to us. And then, like, you just start hearing lasgun blast, like, there's some guy that's, like, walking past the area. He's like, hey, buddy, on the ground, you all...
I have a request, AP.
Yes?
Can I make a fortitude test to try and resist the thing, but like feign being knocked unconscious by
Yeah,
it?
sure, why not?
All right. I will use my last fate point on this test.
I hope you get a 99.
Yeah, I just want to see, like, I want to see, like, if we're taking somewhere, at least, like, where we're taking, etc. So,
Okay.
all right. How'd I do? +4. I rolled a 9.
Impressive.
You are groggily listening to and watching Skitarii and tech priests, 2 tech priests, and a bunch of Skitarii just, like, murdering anyone that can watch them do this. And then they wire explosives to the gas main, the exposed, like, gas main coming out the side of the building, and basically make the whole area, like, they're dragging all of the bodies up to the apartment building so that when it explodes, it will finish off any of the potential victims in the area.
Yeah.
They load...
I was more concerned with, like, where they take us somewhere, like, noting where they've taken us,
Right,
so we know
yeah.
where we are. When
They're loading all 3 of you back into your vehicle. And after about 10 minutes, they get it working again and begin driving you. Your vehicle is loaded onto some sort of covert long-haul shuttle, and you appear to be leaving Citae's Delta and being taken to a 3rd location. Sorry, being taken to a 2nd location, which is exactly what you want to hear in a kidnapping. So, just in case there's anything you want to do, no one who is conscious is in the vehicle with you. You are laid out on the floor inside your own vehicle next to Velamris and Rassie, who are both unconscious. The servo skull is also in there, and the inquisitorial servo skull has been placed in there. You know that there are 3 Skitarii and 2 tech priests, and also a few servo skulls inside of a larger shuttle vehicle.
But inside the vehicle, it's just the 3 of us, though, correct?
As far as you know, yes.
Well, I'm out, so.
Is our servo skull functional or not?
It is not functional.
Okay, no worries.
The vehicle, however, is functional inside of the larger shuttle.
Yeah. I'm not going to burst through the thing out into space. Won't go well for us. Look, I think... can I use, because I've got my my Trojans kit, well, I have things I could use just to help bring them around in terms of, smelling salts.
Smelling salts and such.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you roll. You just do that. Okay. You wake everybody up.
Yeah.
What the shit happened? As a setup.
We've been taken by Mechanicum forces.
I don't remember reading anything about what we or our predecessors could have done to warrant this. There's got to be a misunderstanding of some kind.
I think the problem is that they did something here to her place and then left the servitor there to kill anybody that came in. We came in, and they want to know what we know. I imagine we're being taken. We're on a shuttle, being taken somewhere else, probably to wherever the Mechanicum have holed up since they were evicted from Citae's Gamma or Delta, where from.
I mean, as I understand it, they're fairly precise in their language. They said arrested, not detained.
Oh, you actually talked to them?
They gave us the offer to be captured peacefully.
Well, at least you had the choice. My kidneys are killing me right now.
You hear a sound coming from the machine gun turret area cut out. You just hear someone say, "Don't worry. If they try to take you, I will make sure to use my authority to stop in."
What? Who's that?
I'm guessing that's our watcher.
Inquisitorial interrogator Robert.
Oh. Well, hello there.
If you stick your head out this window, Portcullis, you will be seen, and also I will kill you.
this conversation ever happened. Got it.
I think we've figured this out. There's no reason to believe that these people are necessarily our enemies. They could become fast allies as long as we can find some middle ground.
My suggestion is you remain calm and tell the truth.
We don't have anything to hide from the Mechanicus.
What if they ask us, is there's an inquisitorial agent with us?
I have a feeling they won't
That's
know.
what I thought.
I think Velamris was just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I got nothing to hide.
A few seconds, you hear 2 footsteps that sound like someone is shifting on the roof, and then you don't hear anything else coming from up there.
Okay, well, so shot that thing in the apartment. What did you guys find in there?
You shot what thing?
The conservator?
That might be why we're here.
Perhaps. I feel like there's something more to it than just the fact that we murdered one of their things.
We side cut to the 3 of you at a interrogation table, and a Magos goes, "Why did you destroy the gun servitor?" End of line. Who are you working for? Tell me. End of line.
It really takes all the emotion out when you have something, monosyllabic and come out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, that
Where's the
scene happens.
interrogation?
But what happens next is a tech priest, also a Magos, possibly an Arch Magos of some kind. Definitely seems to be much smaller. Like, this Magos that is interrogating you has like 8 mechadendrites, seems very imposing, almost entirely mechanical. The man that enters the room only has like 2 mechadendrites over the shoulders. And they're quite small and have like scientific manipulators and sensor equipment. But overall, his arms that are visible, legs, face, all seem very human, with the exception of a cybernetic eye and some like temple implants. And he says, "Oh, friends, please excuse my interrogating Magos here. He's very upset that you destroyed his... You have to understand, he was in the gun servitor's cogitation unit observing, so he felt being shot in the back of the head and then in the front of the body when you shot him twice. I'm very sorry about that. I am Arch Magos Ezekiel Sigma 4.
We've heard that name before, haven't we? I'm sorry.
I'm so pleased if you have. Always great to meet some fans. There was an incident. I just want to hear your side of the story before we decide whether or not we're going to charge you with tech heresy and murder you, depending on... Magos, please leave the room. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, great. We're going to figure out whether or not we need to use level 4 pain interrogation on you, or possibly call... I mean, last resort, we'll call the Inquisition, but hopefully this can all be misunderstanding. We know who you are. We have your files. You obviously work for the Darkwind trading house. I mean, it's not very hard to figure these things out. Hey, anyway, can I get you guys anything like water or like what do you eat? Do you still eat, right? Yes, you're normal humans. You eat. Can we get some cornstarch in here? Thank you very much. Okay.
Let me do the talking. It's the first time we've met these guys.
Yeah, Velamris is already... I was going to ask if we were all together, if they separated us, but if we're all together, Velamris is not going to say anything else. He's just going to let you guys do the talking.
Yeah, otherwise, like, during that little bit there, like, all Rassie's going to do is, like, would you like a drink? Oh, yes, please. Like...
So what they do is they set out a glass of water for you, and then a half glass of water that they pour some corpse starch into to turn it into like a gelatin. His mechadendrite stirs it for you. It has a little blender option that comes out of the middle. Would you like some sugar, maybe some salt in it?
You're reminding me of. Have you ever watched Red Dwarf, the British series Red Dwarf?
I've seen some
Yeah.
Red Dwarfs.
Yeah, where Crichton's got a groinal socket he can plug his vacuum cleaner into, and Lister calls him. He says, "Oh yes, I can plug a number of things in my groinal socket, all manner of tools." And he's what? So you can put it like an egg whisk on there and make an omelette. And he goes, "Yes, but you'd be surprised how few people will eat it."
Rassie will ask for a little bit of salt, and otherwise say thank you very much.
He has a servitor that's only purpose appears to be his arm has been replaced with a long salt shaker shooter, and it shoots salt into your cup. And he goes, thank you so much. Okay, let's get you out of here. All right.
You know how there's this current thing with like deconstructed food?
Yes.
Christmas time last year, one of my vendors gave me a gift that was deconstructed table salt, and it was literally a lump of rock salt and a grater in a box.
Unbelievable.
Oh man.
Okay, Holly, you want to roll to impress this guy?
No, I was going to talk first, and if you think there's a roll at the end, we'll worry about the rolls then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Majos, thank you. So we were following up a line of inquiry on behalf of the trading house that led us to this woman, Violetta.
What do you know about her?
We know that she was dealing with a member of the Militarum on the Space Hulk, and that the Lord Colonel wants her dead. We tracked her to having contact with Father Firebrand, and from him we got her address, and we were going to investigate there when we found truly profane things had been done there.
We were always planning to destroy the building. We just have to infiltrate in secret. There were issues with a rival organization. Sure you understand.
Yeah. So, we had our investigation of it was merely to try and find out first off what it was what the Lieutenant Colonel's issue was, but also then what her involvement was. And she was quite clearly attempting to couple with Father Firebrand, who is yes, and they were supposed to have a date this morning, a walking date.
Walking date. See. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I will trade your freedom and the cost of that servitor against you bringing me Violetta alive and fully intact.
I think at this point, Rassie will say, if you've been watching Father Firebrand already, do you have more information on other places that she's been frequenting?
We only started watching him today. And we aren't watching him. We're watching the people watching him.
Understood.
So, was it one of your agents that attacked her originally?
No.
Because someone definitely entered her apartment and chased her out of it.
I cannot say more.
Well,
of course, I'm the Archmagos here. I know it seems like I'm jovial, but that's only because I'm a Magos Biologus. Don't assume I'm any different than any other tech priest.
So what I'm wondering is whether she is responsible for the profane writings upon her wall, or whether whatever attacked her is.
I assure you she is not.
Okay.
Well,
we were planning to eliminate those writings as soon as we could, but you had destroyed our sentry that was waiting for the cleanup team.
Sentry was going to this. I'm going to shut up.
I suppose it's a good thing then that our instincts were in the same line and we destroyed them before our visit here.
Sure. So I just need to know that you're all in agreement that you will hunt down and return Violetta to me intact, genetically, biologically.
What if she is proven to be an agent of the archenemy?
I find that highly unlikely given her status.
What is her status?
He stands up and gestures, and someone brings in like a projector to project something on the wall, and he says, "Tell me, Velamris Quineel, what do you know about the Tyranids?" And that is where we're going to end tonight, as he projects an image of like a horrifying beast with 2 giant claws up front, and that the caption at the bottom says "Distraction Carnifex?" ?
I was so ready to say something like, isn't that a metal band that they're favoring on level 33 right now?
Well, listen, those guys are going to get shut down real quick. Inquisition's going to be breaking down their door.
I wish you'd asked Rassie what Rassie knew of the Tyranids, because then Rassie could relate what it says in the uplifting
Imperial
primer.
Infantryman's Uplifting Primer.
Yeah.
10th edition. No, but he asked Velamris Quineel, the character least likely to know anything about it, because Velamris is the one that asked the question.
Yeah. Velamris is definitely looking at Holly going, I'm sorry, sometimes the words come out.
As James correctly guessed last episode off camera, this is in fact a gene stealer problem.
Well, you got gene stealers. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you some money to get this sorted out.
Hey, what an episode! We had a bullshit arrest where I stunned the whole party and took them with me because I didn't want to fight it out with everyone, because then there would be a lot of dead people on both sides. We met Magos, Biologus, Ezekiel Sigma 4. We killed a gun servitor with 2 pretty good shots. Unfortunately, there was somebody in his brain at the time. And we know that there's at least one other party involved. Someone watching Father Firebrand and someone who is not a Skitarii Ranger. Skitarii Rangering around and leaving profane runes everywhere. Man, I wonder what organization that could be.
Blood Pact.
One that, no, it's not the Blood Pact. What?
Okay,
It's the Dark
one of the things
Mechanicus.
one of the things I wanted to look into was the Blood Pact, because the Commodore had mentioned them.
He did.
That they were I guess they were like the Imperial Guard Chaos.
They are
the Chaos
traitor
Guard or something like
guardsmen who still keep all of the... The only thing that changed for them was allegiance to the Emperor. They still keep all of the respect towards other humans. They're not like recalcitrant, insane murderers who carve chaos runes everywhere and want oceans of blood. They're literally just dudes who are like, the Emperor's wrong. We've seen the correct way. We're still the Imperial Guard and we're here to help you.
Okay.
But also fuck the Emperor and all of his servants.
Yeah, so they believe in the greater good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to send you someone like uploaded their own comic strip they put onto like a Facebook group I was on recently that was like, this is a battle facing Tau, and they discover that the Tau are all actually Imperial citizens who have turned to join the Tau. But it was really professional comic artists of all quality. It was like a sort of 8 or 9 page comic that got posted onto a Facebook group. I'll see if I can find it. It's very well done.
Well, everyone can take 80 experience points. You certainly earned them today with a shit ton of awareness rolls.
And not all of them were failures.
And a lot of fate rolls.
You're spending all of my fate to get through one roll. Really like 2, I guess. But
so you guys can help me out. I'm considering. I want to buy a talent. I have 3 talents I'm considering, which I can now afford one of. Okay. So one of them is more handy, which is eidetic memory. As in, I would have been good today because it means I could have sort of like remembered all the details about the room without needing to sort of like take any particular notes or whatever. The second one, which I now have unlocked it, is a talent which lets me, anytime you 2 make a discipline roll in my presence, you get advantage. So it affects things like fear or corruption, for example. And the third one, just because it's favorable for the character, is Overseer, which whenever you tell people to do something, it lets them use your skill level for that. So I just don't do work anymore and just tell you to do my job, basically. But you can roll it with my skill.
Are you role playing, James?
The only thing I'd be worried about with the eidetic memory is all of the horrible things that AP will do to you because you have eidetic memory.
Wow.
You'll never be able to forget.
We can't gain fate points without like
there's a talent called Fated, which gives you one more fate point, but it's character creation only unless the GM approves it separately.
When you burn a fate point, it can be recovered with an act of massive sacrifice towards the Emperor.
Yeah.
I don't mean like you kill 1,000 psychers towards the Emperor. It, like, oh, I lose an arm. Go through some
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like narratively, it has to make sense as a big thing. But we can't. So, like, I have 3. There's really no way for me to permanently gain more or invest into getting more fate points, though. Situationally, or during downtime, yes, I believe.
Well, in downtime, there's an action you can do which gives you one more fate point for the next, for the next period until the next downtime, basically, which is one I did, but I then burned that one.
Yeah.
The Overseer one is definitely very flavorful and very fun, but I think right now we are all so like dependent on you making your own skill rolls. Like narratively, you have been put in this place of like even right now, this interrogation, we're all just like, although I do think that could be useful for some specific stuff, like for Rassie in particular, the things that Rassie's trying to get into, it would help to be able to roll like the sister does.
I had an idea or two for spending my experience points, but I think I thought I wrote them down too.
Hey, considering the stuff that we're probably going to be getting into, we're probably going to be making a bunch of fear checks soon.
Yeah, I'm working towards getting a talent called Superior Commander, which requires 4 ranks in leadership. But it means that every action in my turn and combat, I can give you guys an action each. So effectively, like, you guys take a shot, and then it comes to my turn, you both take shots again,
Unbelievable.
So,
that sounds really nice.
Fighter Battle Master battle maneuvering people around. What is this, 4th edition D&D? Rogue, use Commander Strike. Get a free sneak attack again.
Battle meditation from Star Wars.
Oh, wow. Yeah. The Palpatine only power? Jeez Louise.
No. Bastila Shan had it in the Old Republic.
Okay, I never played Old Republic because it never worked for me, but all right. Yeah. Originally, the Palpatine only power.
Yeah.
And I'm going to guess she's probably nowhere near as strong as Palpatine using it to dupe the entire galaxy.
No.
Do a barrel roll. Oh my God.
Hey, probably the biggest part of this episode, we finally met Robert, the only inquisitorial acolyte I know named after a French sauce.
And he's been just stealth. Oh, she?
Has been camellia line cloaked on top of your vehicles or underneath your vehicles the whole game.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Because there's been a couple of times you mentioned seeing somebody scoot under the vehicle, but... Yeah.
It's the sort of thing where when she first appears like on camera in the show, there'll be a whole bunch of cuts to like all the times that she appeared in the background.
Yeah, it's like the Spider-Man Tony Stark cut where they do where the Mysterio, where all the scientist is in the background of all of the.
Yeah, I think that's my feedback for those choices. I think the Overseer would be really nice for Rassie. And the bonus to discipline checks, I think, are going to become extremely relevant very soon.
Well, I do think we did very good to not get to the basketball game, so we've still got our fate points when the basketball game occurs.
I like how you think I'm not going to find ways to torment your fate points out of you before the basketball game. You're like, oh, we'll just keep resetting the session. And I'm like, okay, I got tools to work around this. Like, I'm not trying to screw you over, but it sounds like you want me to. You just keep bringing it up.
I want to work towards picking up my goals, because I'm not picking up combat stuff with Rassie right now because it wasn't part of what Rassie's like concept of joining the Rogue Trader was going to be like. I'm trying to work my way towards Briber in Dealmaker.
Those are good picks.
Not that I'm going to be great at them, but that's where Overseer might be nice, because then I could use your role in my bonuses.
Are we good for next Sunday?
I am.
I am. Yep.
Okay, I'm putting it on the list.
I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with Velamris overall. At one point, I had considered him just trying to become this murder bot, killing in the name of the God Emperor, and eventually the Rogue Trader, because he's absolutely done with the Administratum as far as going back to Barnum and Holliver, whatever his name is.
You mean Administratorial Ordinate Barnum and Hoveler?
Yes, that guy.
You just need to do so well that when you go back there, you become his direct line manager, because you get promoted within the ranks.
Yeah, I just have to expose all the corruption within the Darkwind trading house, which so far the only corruption Velamris has found is already dead. Dinas Katari.
Dinas Katari, what a guy. What I love is that I have a file called The Fuck Ups of Dinas Katari.
So you don't have to expose the corruption in the Darkwind Trading House. You need to be part of something so notable that your previous mission is irrelevant and you just replace that guy.
Well, one thought I had too was exposing and removing the Lord Colonel as his capstone, or whatever you want to call it. Say, he was sent out here to figure out what was going on with the Darkwind. It wasn't the Darkwinds at all. It's fucking Lord Colonel Renard, and also you son of a bitch. You're part of this because you're part of this whole crazy scheme of empowering Colonel Renard to do the things he's doing by having me sign stuff because I wasn't paying attention to what I was signing because of 0.124.
I gotta say though, like this exposure of a gene stealer cult is going to be great for this 5-minute conversation. This Lord Colonel is so incompetent that the trading house had to step in to stop a gene stealer incursion because he couldn't.
Well, look, I mean, Liturgical stepped on dangerous ground today when he said that there was no room for levity, and then instantly in levity suggested that we hired Dukari before walking it back. But if I'm taking him at his word, he was so close.
That's not his fault, James. Don't put that on him. That's me. Don't kill my. What have they done to my boy?
I also like this lack of awareness for Rassie.
I've killed enough major NPCs in your campaigns for a bit, Arthur. I'm going to give you a break.
Hey, listen, I'm never going to forget murdering that Corsair. Don't move. Blam.
Was that generic fantasy?
No, that was on my
game.
Yeah.
That was great. That was one of my favorite moments with your character. It was just like, this is such an obvious conversation moment. Blows them away.
Oh,
they didn't listen.
I said, don't move, and James said they turn around, and I was like, oh, I shoot them.
Yeah, I remember. That was like from one of the first handful of sessions too, if I remember right.
It wasn't too far.
Yeah.
Legendary. At some point, James was having characters in game go, wow, you followed 2 of the 3 possible paths that the Aldari Fate Weavers laid down. That's surprising considering you shot the first one. I was like, so we're just lampshading it in game now. Okay. Wow. All right. You know what? If I had the Anthony Birch level haters, I'm sure that I would get a lot of shit on Discord for just being like, all right, you're all captured by the Mechanicus and there's no way to escape. We're throwing you in a room. But, it didn't feel like I wanted to play out a step-by-step. Let's shoot it out with the Mechanicus and also you've been imprisoned. I was deeply worried that you might win and also that you would all die.
I think the way it played
rolling
out
into that with one point as a party.
I don't think we would have. I don't think we would have tried to fight the Mechanicum.
I can never know that, James. Though I can never know that with a party.
Velamris wouldn't have fought. I mean, he would have recognized Adeptus Mechanicus right off the bat if he had seen him.
That's okay.
And been
They
like,
got you while you were in the engine block and just zapped you.
Yeah.
Look,
So if he had been aware of it, he would have definitely done whatever they said to do.
if it had come to a fight and Holly wanted to try and get away from the mechanic, she probably would have tried to call for like people. Like, hey, aren't these the people we all ran off the station? You know, like
that would have worked pretty well.
I definitely had that thought too.
The whole point of their infiltration, it took them so long to get there because they had to stealth there, and they left a sentry, gun servitor, just to kill anybody who walked in the room.
But left them in the room, not outside where somebody could have seen them.
Correct.
Which is where we would have left our sentry if we had called in the drop troops.
My surprise moment this session was when you saw that gun servitor and just went, I shoot it. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're doing this.
Well, I was trying to think in character because
you couldn't communicate with each other.
Yeah, Velamris, we can't communicate. And the only way to prevent you guys from walking into what I initially thought was something like a shotgun, which actually turned into be a heavy bolter to the face, was to shoot the fucking thing myself.
It's amazing what you'll do when you're under stress.
Yeah. And it went well, thankfully. And I didn't have to fight through an entire apartment complex or apartment building to get back down to the ground floor. Because that would have gone well. I would have either murdered a whole bunch of people or gotten my ass whooped.
At least you fell off the edge of the building. The mechanics would have picked up your broken body and brought you along.
Yeah. And because he's a biologist, maybe he would have put me back together. I don't know.
He might have put you back together after you helped him.
Or in order to help him after I agreed to?
No. He would release you back under your own recognizance, and if you came back with Violetta, he would fix you. This is the Mechanicus, not a charity organization.
Well, Velamris would have been like, my back is broken. I can't help you. Please help me, then I can help you.
Have you ever considered cybernetic enhancement via the Servitor Project?
I don't want to be a Servitor.
The Servitor Project.
I don't want to become a Servitor, but I would have accepted augmetics.
Yeah, I don't think one of those is coming
the
without
price
the
of
other.
augmetics is one Servitor contract.
Right.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a heavy bolter?
Oh, now I'm wondering if we can, if when we do this job for them, we can potentially buy augmetics from them.
Hopefully, when we
James
complete
is like,
this job,
right,
we can.
So we have been violently kidnapped, but this could be an opportunity to open a new market.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, like we were already saying that, like the Mechanicum is one possible way, and like I've been part of the conversation is going to be, hey, once we do this, how can we improve our dealings with you from the Darkwind trade house? We need to buy macro cannon shells. You might have a line on that.
Well, I'll say this: a lot of different factions want Violetta, as you may have noticed. She's really tying the whole station together to tutorially introduce you to all the factions on the stations. Everybody wants you. Yeah, how's the Orc Stew Empire? You mean Pops, Papa Winker's Perpetual Stew? That paperwork lies undone, my friend. That paperwork lies undone.
Well, we were waiting for something, but it was waiting
on the pause
for...
sign. We need the pause sign to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need the pause.
Well, you're also supposed to fill out paperwork to trademark him into a franchisee within the Imperium. Because he's a non-Imperial
we were waiting
citizen.
on some paperwork for that from some other agency.
They need you to fill out that paperwork for them.
I feel like we would have done that. But we haven't
actually
said.
It's the administratum.
And yet we haven't.
And yet... What it'll be is the finals for the basketball tournament. I'll be like, Velamris, if you don't submit the paperwork right now and bring me pictures of the Spider-Man, you'll lose. And so you have to choose between whether you're going to the basketball tournament or filling out the Pops paperwork.
And it's still paperwork to fill out for Barnum too.
I thought that was great. In the Twilight Channel with the suggestion that someone said, I think my character should look like someone who wants pictures of Spider-Man.
I think that was Mike about the Major.
Yeah. I didn't want to say
name for this episode.
I know you're hiding, who's in the show. That's all I'll say.
I mean,
Yeah,
people are going to figure
non-patron.
it out soon enough that it's Lord Hunger and Chris Sauce. It's not that difficult. There, I've done it, James. I've unhidden it.
Yeah. Unless you make this episode Patreon exclusive.
I'm not going to. What should I name this episode, though? See, if I do something that implies that the Mechanicus will be in this episode, it'll ruin part of the surprise as the episode goes forward.
Yeah. The
Gunshots.
Homeowners Association.
Ha! There it is. I'm going to call it HOA. Perfect. The true horrors of the 40th millennia.
HOAs were too strong to be wiped out by the
I
ravages of
love
time.
the idea that HOAs are a sub branch of the administratum. They're
Oh,
like,
absolutely. And then the old lady that wants to tell you her entire origin story before answering the question of what did she see when she was walking her dog.
my favorite part was that I implied that there was a gunshot that nearly killed her outside, and no one was like, we should go see where the gunshot was. Everyone was like, oh, we should keep doing whatever we're doing.
We don't have HOAs here. We have councils that sort of stand in for the same sort of thing. And the house I grew up in as a child, we had the front fence of the house was like a little 2-foot high brick wall that was built in the 1930s. And the houses either side had full like 7-foot high wooden fences. And we applied to the council for permission to build a wooden fence. And they told us we had to go and independently seek permission from our neighbors, 4 houses in each direction, and from the 4 houses directly opposite us on the road we lived on, to make sure we weren't ruining the aesthetic of the neighborhood, because we were like the only house with this small brick wall. And we went round and we spoke to all of them, and we got all their permissions, and we sent it back to the council, and the councilman said, denied.
Wow.
No reason, just denied.
I think that's the worst part. No reason.
Yeah, I think the first time I got exposed to that even existing was when I was watching Clarkson's Farm. So that's a whole thing for Jeremy Clarkson working his own farm instead of just paying someone to do it while he drives cars all around the world. And they were trying to build in order to sell any of the stuff that he was making, he wanted to build a small, like a small store. So I had no idea that any of that sort of like village council type stuff existed until like the cameraman followed him around through the whole process. And I was like, this looks nuts. Like,
since I joked about insurance, I'll say, so one of my staff just recently, she lives on a farm and she has a hobby farm. Like she has like chickens and that, and she just keeps the eggs for her family, etc. But occasionally she has too many eggs. And so at the front gate to her farm, she puts like a basket down with eggs in it. And so it has a sign saying, take eggs. And there's like a little jar there if anyone wants to leave a donation. They want to like drop some coins into the jar, they can. Anyway, when they were away at Christmas time for holidays, there was a fire in the farmhouse that damaged a significant amount of the house itself. And when they went to the insurance company to claim the insurance, they were told that because they sold eggs, it wasn't a residence, it was a commercial operation, and it wasn't covered by their insurance.
That sounds like an insurance company.
Yeah.
it does. It unfortunately does.
In America, we would claim it was a cottage industry and get around that bullshit, but that's American. My favorite part about Delaware cottage industries is that they have big labels on their products that are like, because we're a cottage industry, we're not required to do FDA food safety. And I'm just like, ooh, okay. 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 I'm good. I don't know if that's legal, but no thanks. All right, guys. I guess I'll see you next week for another riveting episode of being told what Tyranids are and then being unleashed into the world to capture a rogue gene stealer-ish, kind of. Whatever that first generation 0 of gene stealers are called.
Well, no, she's not
Kentucky?
even. They're not even. She's not. I mean, she's just a regular person that was infected and is trying to get
she's
pregnant.
a Kentucky, I believe it's called.
Yeah. It's like she's like it's more about her child will become
A gene stealer generation 1.
Yeah, that's right. Quite monstrous.
I made a note for myself to take notes on the Tyranid entry in the primer so that I can be like, "Wait, are you sure?" Because I thought like to a biologist.
I love the idea of you contradicting the biologist.
Yeah.
You
Well,
pulling out
I
your
like
primer. It says right here.
it certainly
this a
says
different
in the
cut?
primer they don't recommend close combat with Tyranids. It's not recommended. Although if you do it, try to use a knife or a sword.
Right, because they want you to
bayonet.
capture her alive and intact.
Yeah.
I believe he said intact genetically and biologically, which I guess you can leave that up to your own discernment.
And I think the problem is if he explains to us what she is, I don't know how happy I feel about handing over a Kataji to the biologists because they want to make a bioweapon out of her.
Wow, that's crazy. You think the biologists would want to make a bioweapon out of her? That's crazy. What?
I think Rass is just going to want to murder her right out, too, once he finds out that she's actually Tyranid.
That's cool. They'll shoot you in the head if you don't agree.
And all of this is so far over Rassie's head.
I know.
That's my
Velamris
favorite part where you're like,
about
yes, we're going to argue with you. They're going to be like, okay, do it or else.
But at the end of the day, we haven't mentioned the Inquisition, and if the Inquisition is watching this, they'll know that this particular Magus Biologist wants to get his hands on a gene stealer cultist for experimentation.
You know, the thing is, you do have an inquisitorial pardon, so you could always do the Rogel Dorn thing where you say, I have a permit that says I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Ron Swanson thing.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Have a good night. Or day. Whatever.